Wisdom for Sleep Vertical Bar. The Bamboo Grove, Reflections on Flow and Simplicity. The Whispering Grove. Entering a bamboo forest of stillness. A gentle journey begins among swaying bamboo, inviting you to breathe deeply and soften. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. You don't have to do anything but listen. Let the words guide you like a quiet breeze through a bamboo forest. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And tell me in the comments where you're listening from tonight and what time it is there. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You step softly into the bamboo grove, and at once the world feels different. The air is cooler here, carrying a faint scent of damp earth and fresh green leaves. The stalks rise around you like slender pillars, swaying gently in a breeze that whispers through their hollow hearts. You pause for a moment, noticing how the sunlight filters down in delicate strips, broken and scattered by the tall stalks. Each shaft of light moves slightly as the wind shifts, creating a living pattern on the ground at your feet. Your footsteps make almost no sound as you walk further in. The soft layer of fallen leaves and soil cushions each step, and the only noises are the faint rustling of the bamboo and your own steady breath. Inhale deeply, filling your lungs with the clean, cool air. Exhale slowly, feeling your shoulders drop, as if the grove itself has asked you to set down your burdens. The bamboo teaches us by being, you remember the monk's voice saying softly. It does not struggle. It does not grasp. It grows, it bends, it sways, and in this, it is strong. A faint memory surfaces of a time you tried so hard to hold everything together, keeping thoughts in order, managing emotions, forcing outcomes, and how exhausting it felt. What if you could be like the bamboo rooted flexible, moving with life instead of against it? The breeze picks up slightly and the grove comes alive with sound. The slender stalks tap gently against one another, a hollow melodic rhythm like a natural wind chime. The sound is soft but constant, filling the air like a lullaby for the restless mind. You find a small clearing where the bamboo opens up slightly and you sit cross-legged on the cool earth. The breeze touches your skin like a soft hand, and the gentle creak of the stalks above feels almost like the grove is speaking not in words, but in quiet, soothing gestures. You breathe again, slower this time, and let your gaze rest on a single stalk of bamboo swaying before you. Its motion is unhurried, graceful, as if it trusts the breeze completely. In Zen, there is a story of a master who asked his student, which is stronger, the oak or the bamboo? The student answered, the oak, of course, it stands firm. The master shook his head. In the storm, the oak breaks. The bamboo bends, and so it survives. Could you bend like this? Could you sway with the winds of your own life, without fear of breaking? A small bird lands lightly on one of the stalks, causing it to bow slightly under the weight. Yet the bamboo doesn't resist. It yields, then rises again when the bird takes flight. Your breath deepens again. Inhale. The air is cool and fresh. Exhale. Your body softens further, settling into the earth as if it too is part of the grove. The monk's voice returns faintly in your mind. Peace does not grow in resistance. It grows in flow. You let the words sink in like water into thirsty soil. The grove feels even quieter now, though the wind still stirs and the stalks still sway. The quiet isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of harmony. You close your eyes and listen more deeply. The rustling leaves become like a soft tide washing through your mind and carrying away stray thoughts. For a few long moments you do nothing but sit, breathe, and listen. And then, like a faint truth rising from somewhere deep inside, you feel that this quiet isn't something outside you. It has always been here, waiting for you to notice. The bamboo sways gently overhead. The wind hums. The earth beneath you feels cool and steady. And for the first time all day, you feel steady too. The bending stalk. Strength found in yielding, not resisting, a Zen teaching on how flexibility like bamboo brings peace in life's storms. The bamboo stalk sways softly in front of you, bending low as the wind passes through the grove. There's no resistance in its movement, only graceful yielding, a quiet acceptance of the invisible current pressing against it. And yet when the wind fades, the stalk rises again, tall and unbroken. You watch this gentle dance and realize it is not weakness that makes the bamboo bend. It is strength. The monk's voice echoes faintly in your memory. The oak stands rigid and snaps in the storm. The bamboo bends and survives. You breathe deeply, feeling the cool air expand your chest. As you exhale, you notice the faint stirring of thoughts rising within you. Worries about the future, echoes of past mistakes, the endless desire to hold on tightly to the things you think you control. What would it mean to loosen your grip, to bend instead of bracing? The breeze picks up again, and the bamboo sways in unison. Each stalk seems to know just how far to lean without falling, just how to flow with the wind and return to stillness when it passes. A Zen story surfaces in your mind. A young monk struggled with anger, believing he needed to fight it to be free. His master took him to the bamboo grove during a storm. "Do you see?" the master asked. "The bamboo does not resist the wind, and yet it remains standing. Be like the bamboo. Let the storm pass through you." You feel the truth of those words settle in your chest, warm and heavy. The bamboo doesn't cling to the breeze, nor push it away. It doesn't resist what is or demand what should be. It simply responds moment by moment, flowing with the invisible hands that move it. Could you do the same? You notice your own body now, how your shoulders tighten slightly, how your jaw has clenched, without you realizing it. On your next exhale, you let them go, loosening into the pull of gravity. Inhale. The air is cool and sweet. Exhale. Your chest softens, and a subtle warmth spreads through your ribs. The monk's voice returns in memory. Strength is not the absence of movement. It is the ability to move and return. You glance up at the sky above the grove. Light filters through the narrow canopy, dappling the earth in gentle shifting patterns. Even here in this quiet place, change is constant. Light and shadow trade places. The wind stirs and falls. The bamboo sways and stills. The mind too moves like this. Thoughts rise, emotions stir, memories ripple through awareness. And yet beneath it all, there is a deeper stillness waiting, like the earth holding the roots of the bamboo as it bends in the wind. What would happen if I stopped resisting my own storms, you wonder? Could I learn to bend and rise again like the bamboo? The breeze softens, and the grove grows almost still. The stalks rise tall once more, their leaves whispering faintly as they settle back into place. You close your eyes and feel the echo of their movement in your own body, your breath flowing in and out. Your chest rising and falling, the quiet pulse of life shifting within you. In Buddhist teaching, there is the idea of wu-wei, effortless action, the art of moving with life instead of against it. Like the bamboo, you do not need to control every gust of wind. You need only to respond with grace. You breathe deeply again, feeling the air as it moves through you like a gentle current. The monk's voice whispers softly, "To bend is not to break. It is to trust the stillness waiting within the movement. And for a moment, as you sit among the swaying stalks and listen to their quiet song, you feel it a strength that is soft, a power that comes not from holding on, but from letting go. The breeze returns, and the bamboo bends once more. You watch without tension, your own breath moving like the wind, steady, patient, free. The pebble stream. Watching thoughts drift like pebbles in water. A reflection on how letting thoughts pass restores inner clarity and flow. The bamboo grove grows quieter now, as though the wind itself has paused to rest. The air feels thicker, warmer, and each breath you take fills your lungs with the earthy scent of damp soil and green leaves. You stand slowly and follow a narrow path deeper into the grove. It winds gently between the tall stalks, their hollow bodies creaking faintly as they shift and settle in the breeze. The sound is soft, like an old wooden flute, playing a note too low for the ear, but not the heart. Soon the path opens to a small clearing where a shallow stream runs through the grove. The water moves lazily over smooth stones, its surface glinting faintly in the filtered sunlight. The sound of the stream, gentle, rhythmic, feels almost like breathing, each ripple an inhale, each eddy an exhale. You kneel at the edge of the stream and watch as tiny pebbles lie scattered in its bed. Some sit still beneath the water. Others roll slightly as the current nudges them forward, then lets them settle again. The monk's voice echoes softly in your memory. The mind is like this stream. Thoughts are the pebbles. Some sink, some roll. Watch them. Do not chase them. You take a long, slow breath, noticing how your chest rises and falls like the gentle rhythm of the water. A single leaf drifts down from the bamboo above and lands on the surface. At first, it spins slowly in place, caught in a tiny whirlpool. Then, with a small shift in the current, it floats gently downstream, vanishing around a bend. "See how it moves," the monk had said. "Without effort, without resistance. Could you allow your thoughts to move like this too?" You gaze at the water's surface, watching as faint ripples spread outward. In the shifting patterns, you catch glimpses of your own reflection, fragmented, blurry, then whole again as the ripples settle. A Zen story comes to mind. A monk sat by a stream and said each thought is like a pebble. When the water is agitated, we cannot see the bottom. But if we wait and let the ripples fade, clarity returns. You close your eyes and listen to the stream's voice. It gurgles softly as it slips over stones, and around mossy banks its sound, weaving into the rustle of bamboo leaves above. Your thoughts drift across your awareness, memories, worries, plans, but you don't try to grab them or push them away. You let them pass like pebbles rolling gently in the current. Some thoughts settle on the stream bed heavy and unmoving. Others swirl for a moment before floating on, carried by the quiet strength of the water. You take another deep breath, and this time, your exhale feels longer, smoother, as though it too is part of the stream. In watching the flow, the monk's voice whispers, "You begin to see that you are not the pebbles. You are the water." A cool breeze brushes your face, and you open your eyes again. The stream continues its slow, steady journey, unhurried and untroubled by the small stones it carries. The bamboo sways faintly overhead, their leaves clapping together in soft applause. You rise from your place by the stream and step carefully across a row of flat stones to the other side. The water gurgles beneath your feet, its gentle voice promising, "There is no need to hold on. Let go and flow." On the far bank, a narrow path leads deeper into the grove. The air feels lighter now, touched by the faint scent of bamboo sap and wildflowers. As you walk, you realize your mind feels lighter too. The thoughts are still there, small like the pebbles, but they no longer weigh you down. The monk's words return softly. The stream does not fight the stones in its path. It flows around them. So can you. You step lightly, your breath steady, your heart calm. And for the first time today, you feel as though you are moving with life instead of against it. The monk's bamboo cup, learning the richness of a simple life. A story of a monk and his bamboo cup reveals the beauty of simplicity. The path winds gently away from the stream, leading you deeper into the heart of the bamboo grove. The air grows cooler here, shaded by the dense canopy of slender green stalks. The sunlight trickles through in narrow, shifting bands, painting the earth in soft golden stripes. Each step feels slower now, more deliberate, as though even your feet have begun to move with the grove's quiet rhythm. You hear a faint sound ahead, the clink of wood on stone, and pause for a moment listening. The sound repeats steady and unhurried, blending into the whisper of leaves overhead. As you round a bend, you see an elderly monk sitting cross-legged on a smooth stone, a small bamboo cup in his hand. His robe is simple, his posture relaxed yet strong. Before him sits a pot of tea steam rising in delicate tendrils that curl and vanish in the cool air. He notices you and smiles, not wide or forced, but soft like a candle's glow. He gestures for you to sit across from him. You lower yourself to the earth, folding your legs beneath you. The coolness of the ground seeps gently through your clothes, anchoring you in place. The monk lifts the bamboo cup to his lips, sips, and sets it down on a flat stone beside him. You notice how his movements are unhurried, almost ceremonial. Each action, pouring the tea, holding the cup, sipping, feels deliberate, as though he's giving his whole attention to even the smallest task. "This cup," he says softly, "has served me for many years. It holds no more than a handful of tea, yet it is enough." You look at the cup. It is plain, carved from a single stalk of bamboo, its surface worn smooth from years of use. In its simplicity lies its beauty, the monk continues. Too many cups and the tea grows cold. Too many desires and the heart grows restless. You take a slow breath, letting the words settle into your chest like warm tea. In Zen practice, there is a teaching. Simplicity is not about having less. It is about needing less. You think of all the times you've grasped for more. More plans, more answers, more comfort, believing that fulfillment lay just beyond the next thing. Yet, sitting here with nothing but the bamboo cup and the faint rustle of leaves, you begin to wonder, what if enough is already here? The monk lifts the teapot and pours a small stream of tea into the bamboo cup. The sound of liquid filling the hollow vessel is soothing, like rainwater slipping into a pond. "When the cup is full, I stop pouring," he says. "If I keep going, the tea is wasted. Can you do the same with your life? Can you stop when your heart is full?" You watch the steam rise from the cup, curling in the cool air before fading into nothingness. A Zen story floats through your mind. A wealthy man came to a monk asking how to find peace. The monk offered him tea and began to pour. The man watched as the tea filled the cup and spilled over the edge. "Stop," he cried. "It's overflowing," the monk smiled. "Like this cup, your mind is too full. How can I teach you unless you first empty it?" You feel your fingers loosen in your lap, as though releasing an invisible weight you've carried for far too long. The monk sips from the bamboo cup again, then cradles it lightly in his palm. This cup holds no decoration, yet it holds peace. To live simply is not to lack. It is to make room for what matters. The bamboo stalks above sway gently, their hollow bodies clattering together in soft applause. You take a long, slow breath, feeling your chest rise and fall in time with the grove's rhythm. Could life be like this? You wonder. Could each small action, pouring tea, sipping slowly, even breathing, become its own quiet meditation? The monk sets the cup down and meets your gaze, his eyes calm and steady. "You will not find peace in filling your life to the brim," he says gently. You will find it in the spaces between. You let the words ripple through you like water, noticing how your breath has grown deeper, slower, softer. For a long moment, neither of you speaks. There is no need. The grove hums quietly around you, the bamboo bending in the breeze, the tea steaming gently, the earth holding you both in its patient stillness. And in this simplicity, you feel it a richness that needs nothing more. The wind's lesson. Listening to life without clinging or pushing away. A breeze through the grove teaches how openness leads to calm presence. The breeze shifts gently through the bamboo grove, carrying with it the faint scent of moss and damp earth. You feel it first on your cheek, a cool, whispering touch that stirs the fine hairs on your skin. Then you hear it a low hum as the wind threads through the hollow stalks above, setting them swaying in quiet rhythm. The monk picks up his bamboo cup once more, turning it slowly in his hands as though feeling every curve and groove. His eyes lift to the grove, following the dance of light and shadow across the green walls of bamboo. "The wind teaches us without speaking," he says softly. "It asks nothing. It moves where it moves, and it leaves no trace." You listen carefully, noticing how the breeze doesn't cling to the leaves it brushes against. It passes freely, not demanding the bamboo stay still, nor forcing it to sway harder. In your own life, how often have you tried to hold on to moments, stretching them out, resisting their passing, or pushed away the ones you didn't want, hoping they'd never return? You exhale slowly, watching a slender stalk bend low as the breeze presses against it. When the air grows still again, the bamboo rises upright with no effort at all. "A mind that clings is heavy," the monk continues, "but a mind like the wind is free." There is a Zen story that comes to you now. A student once asked his master, "How can I control my restless mind?" The master replied, "Can you grasp the wind in your hand?" The student shook his head. "Then why try to grasp the mind? Let it pass through." You feel your fingers uncurl slightly in your lap, your shoulders dropping lower as the words settle into you like fine dust on still water. The breeze picks up again. A few dry leaves from the grove floor are caught in its current, lifted briefly into the air before drifting back down in wide, unhurried spirals. You follow their motion, realizing they are not fighting the air that carries them. They ride it lightly, trusting it to place them wherever it wishes. What if you could meet life this way, not grasping for control, not resisting what comes, but listening, feeling, and moving where it asks? The monk sips again from his bamboo cup, then sets it down gently on the stone. The wind and the bamboo do not argue. One moves, the other responds. This is the way of harmony. You draw in a slow, deliberate breath, feeling the air as it cools your throat and fills your chest. The exhale leaves you softer than before, as though some part of you has begun to loosen. The bamboo stalks above shift in the breeze. Again, their long leaves brushing against one another with a faint, soothing rustle. The sound reminds you of waves on a distant shore, steady, eternal, asking nothing but to be heard. Zen masters listen not only with their ears, the monk says gently. They listen with their whole body, with their heart. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sound of the grove fill you completely. The breeze brushes past your face, and you imagine it passing through you too. Not stopping, not lingering, but flowing freely like water slipping through open fingers. Somewhere deep within, a question arises. What would my life feel like if I stopped trying to hold the wind? A faint smile touches your lips as you picture yourself releasing each grasp, one by one. The need to be right, the urge to know what comes next, the weight of old memories. With each exhale, the imagined weight grows lighter until you are sitting there in the grove like one of the bamboo stalks, rooted and strong, yet free to move in any direction. The monk watches you quietly, as though sensing the shift in your breath, in your posture, in your presence. When the wind moves on, it leaves the bamboo still, he says softly. When thoughts pass, they leave the mind clear. The breeze calms again, the grove falling into a silence so deep you can hear the faint crackle of the candle, still flickering faintly in memory, though it is far behind you now. You open your eyes, noticing how the light filters down gently from above each shaft of sun, moving in time with the slow sway of the stalks. For the first time, you feel as though you are not separate from this place, not separate from the bamboo, the wind, or the silence. You are simply part of it all, moving and resting, listening and breathing. And in this stillness, you realize perhaps peace is not something you search for. Perhaps it is something you allow. The monk rises slowly, his robe whispering against the grass. He picks up his bamboo cup and gestures gently toward the path leading deeper into the grove. You stand too, feeling your body lighter now, as though a breeze has passed through you and carried away all that no longer belongs. The wind stirs again and the bamboo sways softly. You take your first step forward, breathing deeply, ready to follow the grove's quiet rhythm wherever it leads. The hollow heart, embracing space as the source of strength. Discover how emptiness in bamboo and mind creates room for lightness. The path narrows as you follow the monk deeper into the bamboo grove. The air feels cooler here, shaded from the afternoon sun by the dense canopy of swaying stalks. Each breath you take carries the faint scent of earth and green sap, sweet and grounding. As you walk, you notice something unusual about the bamboo around you. Many of the stalks have small cracks near their base, revealing their hollow interiors. You pause, reaching out to touch one gently. It feels smooth and cool beneath your fingertips. The monk notices you lingering and smiles softly. "Do you see?" he says, tapping the side of a nearby stalk. The sound is hollow, a gentle thunk that reverberates faintly through the grove. This emptiness is its strength. You tilt your head, curious. "If bamboo were solid like oak," the monk continues, "it would snap in the wind. But because it is hollow, it bends, sways, and rises again." The breeze picks up slightly, and the slender stalks around you sway gracefully in response. Their leaves rustle like soft whispers, each movement effortless flowing. "Your heart too can be like this," the monk says gently. "Hollow, not empty of life, but open to it. When it is filled with grasping, there is no room for peace. A memory stirs in you, the time when your mind felt cluttered heavy, as though you were carrying the weight of every thought and emotion at once. You remember how exhausting it felt to hold it all so tightly. What would it mean to let go even a little and make space inside? You breathe in deeply, letting the cool air fill you, then exhale slowly. As you do, you imagine the air passing through you like the wind through a bamboo grove. Nothing to block it, nothing to catch and hold it. In Zen, there's a teaching form, is emptiness. Emptiness is form. At first, the words sound like a riddle, but here among the hollow stalks, they make a quiet kind of sense. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. The wind passes through the grove, and you hear the faint musical tones as air moves through the hollow spaces. Each note is unique, each moment fleeting, and yet together, they create a melody soft enough to calm even the busiest mind. What if my heart could be like this, you wonder? Open, spacious, strong, not because of what it holds, but because of what it allows through. The monk kneels beside a small shoot of young bamboo. He runs his hand lightly over its surface. When it first grows, it is solid and stiff, he explains. But as it matures, it hollows out and becomes flexible. Only then can it endure the winds of life. A Zen parable comes to mind. A master asked his student to fetch water using a tightly packed clay pot. "The pot is heavy and holds little," the student complained. The master handed him a bamboo tube instead. This holds less, yet gives more, he said. Why? The student shook his head. Because it is hollow, the master replied. And because it is hollow, it is free. You draw another deep breath, feeling your chest rise and fall slowly. For a moment, it's as if a little of the heaviness inside you has begun to dissolve, leaving behind a soft, quiet space. The monk rises, his robe rustling lightly in the breeze. A hollow heart does not mean an empty life, he says. It means a life that flows freely, unblocked by fear or clinging. The breeze returns stronger this time, and the grove comes alive with sound. The bamboo bends low, their stalks moving with the current of air, yet none break. Instead, they sway gracefully, then rise again as the wind softens. You step lightly forward, feeling the earth cool beneath your bare feet. Each step feels unhurried now, as though you've begun to move with the rhythm of the grove, rather than against it. You notice how even your breath has grown quieter. Inhale, open space. Exhale, release. The monk turns to you, his eyes warm and steady. Peace is not something you pour into a full cup, he says. It grows in the spaces you create. And as you follow him along the winding path, you realize that you too are beginning to feel lighter, not because you've added anything, but because you've let something go. Above, the bamboo leaves shimmer in the sunlight, their edges glowing like tiny green flames. The wind sighs once more, moving gently through the grove. And in its passing, you hear a truth so simple, it feels like a secret. You don't need to be full to be whole. The bamboo bridge, trusting the flow while crossing life's transitions. A quiet parable inspires you to walk with ease, not fear across uncertainty. The path ahead opens slightly, revealing a narrow wooden bridge stretching across a shallow ravine. Below, a gentle stream flows, weaving its way around smooth stones and fallen bamboo stalks. The bridge is simple, just a few weathered planks supported by thick bamboo poles bound together with rope. The monk pauses at the edge and looks back at you, his expression calm. Life is like this bridge, he says softly. We cross from one place to another, yet the crossing is where we truly live. You take a step closer and peer down into the ravine. The water shimmers in the dappled light, moving effortlessly over obstacles in its path. Pebbles lie scattered in the stream bed, some submerged, and still others nudged gently forward by the current. The bamboo does not resist when bent into this bridge, the monk continues. It yields, and in yielding it, becomes strong enough to carry us. You place your foot on the first plank. It creaks faintly under your weight, and for a moment you hesitate. But the monk's voice drifts through the quiet grove. Trust the flow beneath you. Trust that each step will hold. You breathe deeply and take another step, the bamboo poles shifting slightly before settling again. The breeze moves through the grove, and the stalks on either side of the ravine sway gently, their hollow bodies whispering in the wind. As you cross, a thought rises. How often have I clung to one side of the ravine, too afraid to step forward? You remember times you've stood still, resisting change, holding tightly to what felt safe, even when your heart longed for movement. What if you could step lightly, trusting the path beneath your feet? Halfway across the bridge, you pause and look down at the stream below. The water flows endlessly, carrying leaves and twigs, turning around rocks, never stopping, yet never forcing its way forward. A Zen master once said, the monk's voice returns, you do not cross the same river twice. The water changes, and so do you. Yet the crossing remains. The breeze picks up slightly, and the bridge sways, almost imperceptibly. You feel your fingers tighten for a moment, then loosen as you exhale slowly. You take another step, then another. Each one feels softer now, less hesitant, as though the earth itself is guiding you across. The monk waiting on the far side watches you with a faint smile. "Transitions are the hardest," he says when you reach him. "But remember, the bamboo bends to become the bridge. It does not fear what lies beyond." You glance back once more at the bridge. It seems different now. Not an obstacle, but a gentle path suspended in the air, carrying you forward with quiet grace. In Zen practice, there is a teaching: to cross is to let go. To let go is to arrive. The monk gestures toward the path ahead, and you follow. The grove feels lighter somehow, the air warmer. Bamboo leaves shimmer in the sunlight, their edges glowing faintly gold. Each step carries you further from the stream, yet a part of you feels as if you've left something behind, not in loss, but in release. The monk's voice drifts through the hush of the grove. "A bridge is not meant to be lived upon. It exists to carry you from one place to the next." You breathe in deeply, noticing how your chest expands, like the grove itself, opening to the sky. And as you exhale, a thought slips through your mind, like a whisper: perhaps all of life is a bridge. Not a place to cling to, but a flow to trust. The bamboo sways gently overhead, their leaves rustling in soft applause. The path continues winding through the grove like a river seeking its own way home. And for the first time, in a long while, you walk with ease. No longer gripping the ground beneath your feet, but moving lightly like the wind through the hollow bamboo. The returning path, carrying the bamboo's wisdom into deep rest. Close with a serene reflection as you leave the grove, taking its stillness within. The path begins to curve gently back toward the edge of the bamboo grove, where soft sunlight filters through the leaves, casting a warm glow on the earth beneath your feet. The air is fragrant with the scent of moss and fresh bamboo, carrying the quiet promise of rest. You walk slowly now, each step lighter than the last, as though the wisdom of the grove has settled into your bones. The breeze whispers softly through the stalks, carrying the gentle rustle of leaves. A lullaby for the weary mind. Ahead, the monk pauses beside a large, ancient bamboo stalk that arches gracefully over the path, forming a natural gate. They look back at you with a peaceful smile. "The path returns, as do we," they say softly. "After wandering, after learning, we come home to the quiet within." You step beneath the arch and feel the subtle shift in the air, as though passing through a threshold, not just of place, but of being. The grove seems to hold its breath, cradling you in its green embrace. Your breath slows deep, and even as you sink into the stillness. The lessons of the bamboo, the yielding, the flow, the openness echo quietly within your heart. You remember the bending stalk that taught strength through flexibility, the pebble stream that showed you how to let thoughts drift like water, the hollow bamboo that revealed the power of emptiness. Each teaching is like a thread woven into a tapestry of calm that now covers your mind and body, softening sharp edges and smoothing rough places. The monk kneels beside you, folding their hands gently in their lap. They close their eyes, and you follow, letting the outer world fade into the background as your inner landscape grows clear and serene. In this moment, there is no rush, no expectation. There is only the steady pulse of life moving through you, the rhythm of breath, the beat of your heart, the whisper of wind in the bamboo leaves. The monk's voice, barely more than a whisper, returns to you. Peace is not a place you arrive at. It is the path you walk, the breath you take, the stillness you carry inside. You feel the truth of these words settle deep within your chest. Quiet flame that does not flicker or fade. Your thoughts grow softer like clouds dissolving into the vast sky. Your body sinks deeper into the earth, heavy but light all at once. You are home. The grove around you seems to glow with a gentle golden light, as if the bamboo itself is breathing with you, alive and steady. You open your eyes and see the last of the sun filtering through the leaves, painting everything in a warm amber hue. The monk stands slowly, offering you a small bow. You bow in return, palms pressed together, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for this shared journey. As you rise, you carry with you the quiet strength of the bamboo, the wisdom of flow and simplicity, the courage to bend without breaking, and the grace to rest in your own stillness. You step forward on the path that leads away from the grove. The soft rustling of bamboo leaves a gentle farewell. The air is cooler now, and the promise of rest draws near. Your breath slows even further, settling into a soft rhythm as your body and mind prepare to drift into sleep. And as the night wraps around you like a warm blanket, you realize that the peace you found here is not something distant or fleeting. It is always within you, ready to be returned to whenever you choose. The bamboo grove fades behind you, but its lessons remain lighting your way like a quiet flame in the darkness. The world grows softer now. The edges blur as your breath deepens and your body relaxes. You feel the gentle rhythm of your heartbeat, steady and calm beneath your ribs. The breeze in the bamboo leaves is like a lullaby, its soft rustle, carrying you gently toward rest. Each leaf seems to whisper, "You are safe. You are enough." Your thoughts float like pebbles in the stream, present but never heavy. You don't need to hold on to them. You don't need to chase or push them away. You simply watch them pass like clouds drifting across a vast open sky. Remember the bamboo strong because it bends open, because it is hollow alive, because it flows with the wind. Let these truths settle deep within you, a quiet flame glowing steadily in the center of your being. There is nothing more to do, no place to go, no burden to carry. Just this moment, just your breath, just the peace you carry inside. As you drift into sleep, know that the wisdom of the bamboo is with you, flowing through you, resting within you, holding you gently in its timeless embrace. Zen Stories for Sleep Vertical Bar, The Silent Tea House, Finding Peace in Small Moments, The Quiet Arrival. Entering the tea house and leaving noise behind, you step into a still space, sensing the calm that comes with silence and presence. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. You don't need to do anything but listen and breathe, letting yourself be carried softly into calm, like stepping into a quiet tea house, hidden away from the noise of the world. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't somewhere else. It's already inside you, waiting to be uncovered. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you'd like, share your location and local time in the comments wherever you are. Know you're welcome here. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You step through a narrow wooden door into the silent tea house. The air immediately feels different, soft, warm, and inviting. Outside, the world buzzes with noise and motion, but here the only sound is the gentle rustling of bamboo leaves beyond the paper windows. Your footsteps fall softly on the smooth wooden floor, each step a quiet echo that seems to settle the air even more. The room is simply furnished: low tables, tatami mats, and a small hearth where a kettle softly simmers. Light filters through rice paper screens, casting delicate patterns of shadow and glow. You find a place to sit and notice how the quiet seems to deepen your breath. Inhale, exhale. The rhythm slows as your body relaxes, the scent of brewed tea, a hint of toasted leaves and earth fills the room like a gentle embrace. The tea house is a sanctuary built from small moments of care. Every detail, the placement of the utensils, the folded cloths, the steam curling from the kettle, is arranged not for show, but to invite presence. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we cling to what is fleeting. Here in this silent space, there is no need to cling. Instead, you are invited to simply be, to let go of the day's worries and rest in the calm of now. A story comes to mind of a Zen master who welcomed a weary traveler into his tea house. The traveler asked, "How do I find peace amid the chaos?" The master smiled and said, "Sit quietly with me, drink this tea. The world's noise is outside these walls. Here, peace is served with each cup. You feel your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, as if the walls themselves are breathing with you. Steady, calm, patient. Outside, the wind whispers through the bamboo grove, nature's own lullaby. Inside, the silent tea house holds space for your stillness, a reminder that peace often lives in the smallest moments. And now, with the quiet settling around you, you prepare to join in the slow, mindful rhythm of the tea ceremony, where every movement is an invitation to presence and every sip a meditation. The tea ceremony. Mindfulness in simple, deliberate acts. Watching the tea prepared becomes a meditation in patience and attention. The soft clink of porcelain and the faint whistle of the kettle signal the beginning of the tea ceremony. You watch quietly as the host moves with deliberate care, each action slow and purposeful, inviting you to match their rhythm with your own breath and attention. First, the host warms the teapot, pouring hot water in a smooth arc, and then carefully discarding it, preparing the vessel to receive the tea leaves. The steam rises in gentle swirls, catching the light and disappearing almost as quickly as it appears. You breathe in, savoring the warm, earthy scent that fills the air. And you feel your senses begin to sharpen with the quiet focus of the moment. In Zen practice, this kind of mindful ritual isn't about perfection or haste. It's a way to anchor yourself in the present, to slow the mind's endless chatter and invite peace through simple, deliberate acts. The Buddha taught that clinging fuels suffering. Let that sink in for a moment. When you cling to the past or worry about the future, your mind becomes tangled, but in gentle presence, there is release. The host picks up a handful of carefully measured tea leaves, dark curled and full of promise, and places them into the warm teapot. Each leaf seems like a tiny treasure, a quiet invitation to engage fully with what is happening here and now. You notice how their fingers move with such grace and intention. There is no rush, no distraction, only the unfolding of a sacred, ordinary moment. It reminds you of a lesser-known Zen practice, where monks sit facing a wall for hours, simply watching their thoughts drift by, without grasping or pushing away, returning always to the present. As the tea steeps, the host sets a small bowl before you, its surface smooth and cool, inviting your touch. They pour the deep amber liquid slowly. The sound of tea filling the bowl is soft but distinct, a tender reminder that each small sound, each small action can be a doorway to calm. You hold the bowl in your hands, feeling its warmth seep gently into your skin. The aroma rises in soft waves, earthy and sweet, a fragrant invitation to rest your mind and body. Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you stopped fighting the noise in your mind and instead welcomed it, just as you welcome this tea? Could peace be found in acceptance rather than resistance? You take your first sip slowly, letting the warmth spread through you like a quiet flame. The taste is simple. Pure, a gentle sweetness tempered by a hint of earthiness. It grounds you, connects you to the moment and to the centuries of seekers who have found solace in this humble ritual. The tea ceremony teaches that mindfulness doesn't require grand gestures. It can be found in the folding of a cloth, the placement of a cup, the quiet sipping of a warm drink. These small moments repeated with care build a sanctuary within your heart where peace can take root. As you sip again, you notice the subtle sensations, the texture of the bowl, the warmth on your lips, the softness of your breath. And you realize that this quiet awareness is already enough. The sound of a gentle breeze stirs the paper screens, and a single bamboo leaf taps lightly against the window frame. Its rhythm like a soft heartbeat in the room. You sit with this quiet, letting it fill you completely, carrying you gently deeper into stillness. The empty cup, learning to let go of fullness and expectations. A story about an overflowing cup teaches the power of openness and surrender. The warmth of the tea lingers in your hands, and as you sit quietly, you begin to notice the cup's delicate emptiness once the last sip is gone. Its hollow form, simple and unadorned, holds space not just for tea, but for possibility. You realize how often your own mind feels like a cup already too full, filled with worries, plans, memories, and expectations, leaving little room for the present moment. The monk's voice comes softly to you when the cup is full. How can it receive more? This ancient teaching from the Buddha reminds us that clinging to fullness, be it thoughts, desires, or attachments, creates suffering. To find peace, you must first let go and create openness. You reflect on a story of a traveler who visited a Zen master seeking wisdom. The master offered the traveler tea and began pouring even as the cup overflowed onto the table. "Stop," the traveler cried. "It's full." The master smiled gently and said, "Like this cup, your mind is full. How can I teach you unless you first empty it?" The image of the overflowing cup presses upon your heart. You wonder, how often have you tried to pour more into a cup already brimming, hoping to fill some void, but only ending up with spillage and mess? What if the answer is not to pour more, but to release what's already there? You close your eyes and breathe deeply, inhaling cool, fresh air, then exhaling slowly. Imagining the spillage flowing away, worries dissolving, tension loosening. With each breath, you feel more spaciousness within a gentle lightness replacing the heaviness. In Zen practice, this act of emptying the mind is not about forcing thoughts away, but allowing them to pass naturally, like clouds drifting across a vast sky. Some monks sit for hours simply observing thoughts come and go without attachment, recognizing that thoughts are transient and do not define the self. You feel the truth of this in your own breath, the rise and fall steady and sure, a constant rhythm beneath life's ever-changing surface. The silent tea house itself seems to breathe with you, its walls holding space for your openness, its quiet offering a sanctuary for your soul. As you open your eyes, you notice the cup again, empty now, but ready to receive. This emptiness feels inviting, full of possibility, rather than lack. The monk's gentle reminder echoes, "To receive peace, you must first create space." And in this small, silent moment, you begin to understand that letting go is not loss, it is freedom. The breeze outside rustles softly, and a single bamboo leaf brushes the window pane, as if reminding you that even in emptiness, life moves, flows, and renews. You sit still, your heart lighter, your mind quieter, and your cup open. The whispering walls, listening to silence as a form of conversation. Discover how quiet can speak volumes when you truly listen. The silent tea house envelops you in its quiet embrace, the stillness almost tangible. The walls made of delicate paper and weathered wood seem to breathe softly alongside your own calm breath. You realize that silence here is not mere absence of sound, but a presence. a living, whispering companion that invites you to listen more deeply. You settle comfortably and allow yourself to notice the gentle creaks and sighs of the structure, the subtle shifting of the paper screens as a faint breeze stirs the air. The walls seem to hold stories untold, yet palpable in the quiet space between each breath you take. In Zen tradition, silence is considered a profound form of communication. It's in the stillness between words that true understanding often arises. The Buddha himself taught that beyond speech and thought lies a realm of pure presence where wisdom flows without effort. Some monks practice a form of meditation called just sitting shikantaza, where the focus is not on eliminating thoughts, but on resting fully in silence, allowing everything to arise and pass, like waves on a vast ocean. This deep listening to silence reveals a kind of conversation without words, a dialogue between the self and the world, the heart and the mind. As you lean back, you begin to sense this quiet dialogue. The room's silence doesn't demand anything. It simply holds space for you. You feel invited to respond, not with words or actions, but with your presence. To be fully here, fully attentive, is itself a form of communication. A Zen story drifts into your mind. A student asked his master how to find peace. The master led him into a silent room and said, "Listen." The student heard nothing but stillness. After a long pause, the master said, "In silence, all answers are spoken." You wonder how often your life is filled with noise, external chatter, inner turmoil, distractions that drown out this gentle conversation. What might happen if you made room for silence, truly listening to what it has to say? The tea house, with its whispering walls, offers a refuge from the endless rush. It teaches that peace often comes not from changing what you hear, but from changing how you listen. You feel the calm deepen as you breathe the silence. No longer empty, but rich, full of subtle nuances that settle like soft waves within you. The paper screens shimmer lightly in the fading light, and you hear the faintest creak, a sound that in this stillness feels like a secret being shared just for you. You rest in this quiet communion, realizing that the most profound conversations need no words. The gentle steam, embracing transient moments of beauty and calm. Steam rising from the cup becomes a metaphor for impermanence and presence. The steam rises softly from the freshly poured tea, curling and twisting in delicate translucent spirals before vanishing into the quiet air. You watch it with gentle attention, captivated by its fleeting beauty. How it appears, dances briefly, and then fades away without trace. The warmth of the cup seeps into your hands, grounding you even as your gaze follows the ethereal steamlight and ever-changing. Each wisp feels like a whisper of impermanence, reminding you of the delicate nature of all things, moments, thoughts, feelings, all here now, then gone. In Buddhist teaching, anicca, impermanence, is one of the core truths. Everything changes. Nothing holds. Yet, within this constant flow lies a profound invitation to embrace the present moment fully without grasping or resisting. You recall a story of a Zen monk who would meditate on the rising steam from his tea. He said, "The steam reminds me life is here and now, fleeting and precious. To cling is to suffer. To let go is to live." As you breathe, you feel the coolness of the air mingling with the warmth from the cup, the contrast sharpening your senses. The steam continues its delicate dance, a fleeting art of smoke and light that disappears before you can hold it. You realize that your own thoughts are much like the steam passing through your awareness, sometimes swirling with intensity, sometimes fading quietly. They cannot be held, only witnessed. A lesser-known Zen practice involves focusing on such transient phenomena. A falling leaf, a passing cloud, the flicker of a candle flame. To cultivate mindfulness and acceptance. What would happen if you could meet your own thoughts as you do the steam with gentle curiosity, without judgment or attachment? You inhale deeply, filling your lungs with the fresh scent of the tea and the quiet room. Exhale slowly, releasing tension and inviting stillness. The room feels warm and alive with quiet energy, as if the very act of watching the steam has opened a door to a deeper calm. Your mind softens, no longer grasping for permanence or certainty, but flowing freely with the transient beauty of the moment. The tea cools slowly, its surface rippling faintly as a stray breath stirs the cup. You savor another sip, feeling the warmth spread through you, steadying your breath and settling your heart. In this simple ritual, you find a mirror for life's ebb and flow, a reminder that peace is not found in holding tight, but in embracing the ever-changing dance of existence. The steam rises once more, a delicate spiral dissolving into silence, carrying with it the quiet wisdom of impermanence. The stone garden, finding stillness in the midst of motion. A contemplative walk through a garden reveals how peace grows in balance. Leaving the warmth of the tea house behind you, step out into the gentle embrace of the stone garden nearby. The air here feels cooler, tinged with the faint scent of moss and old stone. The garden is a place where movement and stillness coexist, a delicate balance crafted through the careful placement of stones, gravel, and sparse greenery. Your footsteps make soft sounds on the gravel paths, each step a mindful connection to the earth beneath you. The stones vary in size and shape, some smooth and rounded, like river pebbles, others jagged and imposing like ancient sentinels. Between them, the gravel is raked into intricate patterns, waves and spirals that seem to flow endlessly across the ground. You pause to observe the garden's quiet rhythm. The gravel's swirling lines suggest motion, yet the stones remain steadfast, anchored in their place. It is as if the garden breathes, expanding and contracting, flowing and resting, inviting you to find your own stillness amidst life's constant change. In Buddhist teaching, this garden reflects the nature of mind and reality. Like the stones, some experiences are solid and enduring, while others' thoughts, emotions, sensations are like the shifting gravel always in motion. The practice of Zen encourages us to find calm in the midst of this flux, resting with openness rather than resistance. You walk slowly along a curved path, letting your gaze soften. The sound of gravel crunching beneath your feet blends with the distant rustle of bamboo leaves, creating a natural symphony that soothes your spirit. A Zen story comes to mind. A master once asked his students to rake the garden, observing the patterns they created. He said, just as the gravel moves and shifts, so too does the mind. The stones teach us to stand firm. The gravel teaches us to flow. Balance is the way. You take a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill your lungs. Exhale slowly, letting tension slip away with the breath. You notice a small, moss-covered stone beside the path. Its surface is rough but soft-shaped by time and nature's patient hand. You reach out and touch it gently, feeling its texture, grounding yourself in the moment. The garden is a mirror for your inner landscape, a place where movement does not disturb stillness, and stillness does not resist movement. Zen masters often meditate in gardens like this, allowing their minds to become like the raked gravel, aware, flowing, and free from clinging. What if you could carry this balance with you, to be firm when needed, yet flexible enough to move gracefully through life's changes? The breeze stirs again, ruffling leaves and sending a few stray petals fluttering across the gravel. You watch them dance briefly before settling among the stones, a quiet reminder that beauty is found in moments of letting go. You continue your slow walk, each step a meditation, each breath a gentle return to the present. The stone garden offers no rush, no urgency, only the invitation to rest in stillness while embracing the flow of life. And as you walk, you realize that peace is not a distant goal, but a living, breathing presence available here and now. The silent smile, the unspoken wisdom of simple kindness. Small gestures hold deep meaning and can connect us beyond words. The gentle path through the stone garden leads you to a quiet clearing where the sun filters softly through the leaves overhead. In the center sits an old wooden bench, worn smooth by years of use, inviting you to pause and rest. You settle onto it, feeling the grain of the wood beneath your hands, steady and grounding. Nearby, a small group of monks quietly tend to the garden, their movements deliberate and calm. One of them catches your eye and offers a small, silent smile, a simple gesture filled with warmth and presence. You return the smile, feeling a quiet connection that needs no words. In Zen teachings, the silent smile holds deep significance. It is an unspoken transmission of compassion and understanding that transcends language. It speaks directly to the heart, reminding us that kindness and presence can be communicated in the smallest moments. You recall a story of a master who greeted his students each morning with a silent smile. When asked about it, he explained, "Words can confuse and divide, but a smile opens the door to peace." His students learned to greet not just with their lips, but with their entire being. You feel the gentle power of this unspoken kindness ripple through you. In your own life, how often have you overlooked the quiet gestures, the nod of understanding, the soft look of care that carry more meaning than any speech? The monk's smile lingers in your mind as a reminder peace is found not only in meditation or ritual, but in the simple acts of presence and warmth we offer one another each day. Your breath slows as you sit, and you notice the subtle sounds around you. The rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, the soft steps of the monks working nearby. Each sound blends into the quiet harmony of the garden. The silent smile invites you to listen deeply, to see beyond surface appearances, and to connect with the shared humanity in all beings. You feel a warmth spread in your chest, gentle and steady, like a quiet flame. This is the wisdom of simple kindness, the recognition that even the smallest acts can awaken peace in the world. As you rise from the bench, the breeze carries the scent of blooming flowers, and the monks' silent smiles seem to follow you along the path. You carry their unspoken kindness with you, a quiet light guiding your way. The last sip, carrying the tea house's calm into your night. Closing reflections encourage you to bring gentle presence into sleep. The day draws gently to a close as you return to the quiet sanctuary of the tea house. The fading light outside casts soft amber hues across the wooden floor, and the air feels cooler, carrying with it the peaceful silence of evening. You settle once more in the familiar space, cradling your teacup like a treasured companion. The last sip warms your lips, a quiet comfort that lingers in your chest. It is more than just tea. It is the essence of all the moments you've gathered here, the calm arrival, the mindful ceremony, the empty cup. Inviting openness, the whispering walls, speaking without words, the delicate steam teaching impermanence, the stone garden reflecting balance, and the silent smiles offering gentle connection. Each of these small moments has woven together a tapestry of stillness within you, a quiet refuge to carry forward. The Buddha taught that true peace is not something to be chased outside ourselves. It is found in the simple acts of presence and acceptance, in allowing life to flow through us without grasping or resistance. You breathe slowly now, each inhale filling you with soft light, each exhale releasing what no longer serves. The tea house, once a place you entered, now feels like a part of you, a calm within that you can return to whenever you wish. Outside, the night deepens, and the bamboo grove whispers softly in the dark, a lullaby to the world. You close your eyes and feel the warmth of the day's journey settle within your heart. A final thought drifts to you. Peace is not a distant destination, but the gentle presence in small moments, the last sip, the silent smile, the quiet breath. As sleep approaches, you carry this calm with you, like a lantern glowing softly in the night. The world quiets as your breath slows and deepens. You feel the soft weight of rest settling over your body, a gentle surrender to the night. The silence in the tea house has become your own, an inner stillness that holds you tenderly. You notice how your thoughts drift like leaves on a slow-moving stream, present, but not needing to be caught or held. Each moment fades softly into the next, like the steam rising from a warm cup, delicate and transient. Remember the bamboo swaying in the wind, the stones steady in the garden, and the silent smiles shared without words. Peace is not something to grasp. It is something to be lived moment by moment, breath by breath. As your body grows heavy and your eyelids close, know that this calm is always with you. It lives in the small moments, in the quiet spaces between thoughts, in the gentle presence of your breath, in the warmth of your heart. Let yourself drift now, carried by the soft whisper of the night. You are safe, you are enough, you are home. Zen Stories for Sleep Vertical Bar. The Empty Teacup, Letting Go of Old Beliefs, 2 hours. The Overflowing Cup. A Zen master teaches why clinging to knowledge blocks true understanding. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine the glow of a paper lantern swaying slightly in the evening breeze, its soft light flickering against wooden walls. You can almost hear the distant sound of a bamboo fountain water filling, tipping, and returning again in an endless rhythm. It's in moments like this that you remember calm isn't something far away. It's already here, already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And, as you listen tonight, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You sit cross-legged in a quiet tea room, the scent of sandalwood rising faintly in the air. Before you is a Zen master, his posture straight yet relaxed, as if he's as much a part of the room as the polished wooden floor beneath you. He lifts a teapot and begins to pour tea into your cup. But as the golden liquid rises, you notice something strange. The tea reaches the brim, yet he does not stop pouring. It spills over, dribbling onto the mat. You fidget uncomfortably, wondering if you should say something. "Stop," you finally blurt out. "It's already full, no more will fit." The master places the pot down and looks at you with a quiet smile. "Exactly," he says. "You are like this cup, full of your own ideas and opinions. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" You take a deep breath, letting the words seep into your chest. How many times have you clung to old beliefs, certain they were right, yet felt stuck? The Buddha taught that clinging fuels suffering, like trying to hold on to water in a clenched fist. Could you loosen your grip even just a little? The sound of a sparrow outside pulls you back. Its simple chirp feels like an invitation to release what's weighing you down. You remember reading about a peculiar Zen practice where monks sweep the same courtyard every morning, even if no dust has settled. It's not about the dust, it's about clearing the mind, a quiet ritual of letting go. What would happen if you treated your thoughts the same way, not fighting them, not analyzing, but gently sweeping them away? As you sip your tea, you notice the warmth spreading through your body. It's almost like the heat is softening something inside you. The tightness in your shoulders, the chatter in your head, even that old memory you've carried for years, they feel lighter. As if the simple act of paying attention has already begun to empty your cup. The Zen master rises and opens the sliding door. A cool breeze enters, carrying the scent of pine. Let go of what you know, he says softly, and the universe will fill you with what you need. You step out with him, feeling the smooth wooden threshold beneath your feet. Somewhere deep inside, you sense the truth in his words. What would it feel like to carry no heavy opinions, no need to be right, just an open heart and an empty cup? Tonight, as you listen, maybe you can let the stories pour in like fresh tea without trying to hold or control them. The lantern above you flickers gently, casting moving shadows. You watch them dance and think perhaps even your beliefs are just shadows passing, changing. And when they fade, the light remains. The master looks at you one last time. Empty your cup, he repeats, his voice like a lullaby. The journey begins there. You take a step onto the garden path, the sound of gravel crunching softly beneath your feet. The night feels calm, spacious, and full of promise. The weight of the stone, releasing heavy mental burdens, and discovering lightness in letting go. You follow the Zen master down a narrow stone path lined with moss and tiny wildflowers. The garden feels alive, not just with the hum of insects and the occasional rustle of leaves, but with a deep, unspoken stillness, like the earth itself is breathing beneath your feet. As you walk, you notice a large, smooth stone resting near a shallow pond. The master pauses beside it, placing his hand gently on its surface. This stone has been here for centuries, he says. It carries the weight of rain, wind, and sun, yet it never complains. But humans... He glances at you with a twinkle in his eye. We carry invisible stones in our minds, regrets, fears, expectations. Heavy, isn't it? You nod silently, sensing the truth of his words. Here, he says, pointing to the stone. Pick it up. You crouch down, fingers curling around its cool, damp surface. It's heavier than you expected. As you lift it, your arms tense, shoulders straining. Now hold it, the master instructs. At first, it seems manageable. But as the seconds stretch on, your arms begin to ache. The weight, constant and unrelenting, demands all your attention. Strange, isn't it? He murmurs. The stone hasn't grown heavier yet. The longer you hold it, the more it consumes you. You shift uncomfortably. It's exhausting, you admit. He smiles softly. That's how clinging works. Thoughts, memories, grudges, they're just stones of the mind. And yet, we insist on holding them tight, believing they're part of us. The Buddha once said, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. As you listen, you realize the coal isn't just anger. It's anything you refuse to release. There's a Zen story about a monk who carried a woman across a muddy stream, though monks were forbidden to touch women. Hours later, his companion berated him for breaking the rule. The monk simply replied, I set her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? You feel a small smile creep across your face. How many things have you carried long after you could have set them down? Now the master says, gently place the stone back. As your fingers release it, the stone settles with a soft thud against the earth. Immediately, your arms feel lighter, freer. You hadn't realized how much effort you were spending just to hold on. Notice how your body responds, he whispers. Your muscles soften. Your breath deepens. When you release the stone, you reclaim your energy. You glance up at him, and he continues. Life will hand you stones again and again. Some you must carry for a while, responsibilities, commitments. But others can be set down the moment you realize they're not really yours. The sound of water trickling into the pond draws your attention. You watch as ripples spread across the surface, each one fading into stillness. What thoughts have you been holding like this stone? The master asks quietly. What could you put down tonight? You close your eyes, letting his words settle. There's that memory of failure you keep replaying, the hurtful comment from a friend, the worry about tomorrow. Could you let them go, even for a moment? As the breeze brushes against your face, you feel an unexpected lightness in your chest, like a weight lifting. The master turns and begins walking again. Letting go is not a single act, he says. It's a practice, like breathing, like walking. You notice his steps are unhurried, almost playful. He pauses to watch a dragonfly hover over the pond, its gossamer wings catching the fading light. Zen is not about escaping life's weight, he says, but learning when to carry and when to release. As you follow, you imagine all the invisible stones you've been clutching, dropping one by one onto the soft moss. Each one lands without sound, absorbed into the earth. The path curves ahead, leading deeper into the garden. Lanterns flicker gently in the distance, their glow inviting you forward. For the first time in a long while, you feel space inside you, room for peace, for stillness, and maybe, just maybe, for joy. The master glances over his shoulder. A mind that lets go is a mind that can fly, he says, voice barely above a whisper. You take another step, the sound of gravel underfoot grounding you. In this moment, the silent garden. How stillness allows fresh insights to bloom like spring flowers. The path grows narrower as you follow the Zen master deeper into the garden. The air feels cooler here, scented faintly with jasmine and wet earth. Overhead, the branches of an old pine stretch wide like a protective canopy, letting only soft shards of moonlight slip through. You notice how quiet it is. No breeze, no chirping insects, just silence so complete it feels almost alive. The master stops and gestures for you to sit on a weathered wooden bench beside a low hedge. Across from you, a small gate stands open, leading into an enclosed courtyard you hadn't noticed before. This, he says softly, is the silent garden. Here we do not speak. We let the garden teach. You nod, though a dozen questions bubble up in your mind. What lesson could a garden give? How could silence teach anything? The master sits beside you, folding his hands in his lap. He closes his eyes, and you feel the invitation to do the same. For a moment, your thoughts resist. Lists, worries, memories, they tumble forward like restless waves. But then, as you breathe in the garden air, something shifts. The stillness begins to seep in, filling the spaces between your thoughts. You hear it, then the faint drip of water from a bamboo spout. A single leaf falling to the ground, the distant creak of wood as the bench adjusts beneath your weight. It's subtle, but in this silence, each sound feels amplified, as if the world itself is leaning in to whisper. There's a Zen koan that comes to mind. What is the sound of one hand clapping? At first, it sounds absurd, but here in this space, it feels like an invitation to experience sound and silence differently. The Buddha once taught that in silence, the mind can finally hear what the heart has been saying all along. You wonder, what has your heart been saying beneath all the noise of your life? Your eyes drift open and you notice a patch of moss glowing faintly in the moonlight. A tiny beetle moves slowly across it, unaware of your gaze, carrying its own quiet world on its back. You remember reading about a Zen practice where monks sit facing a blank wall for hours, letting their minds become as smooth and unmarked as the wall itself. It sounds boring, even strange, but now you understand only in emptiness can something new appear. What do you hear? The master asks quietly, though his lips barely move. You hesitate. The water, you whisper, the leaf. And inside you, you place a hand over your chest. There's a faint hum there, not of words, but of being. It feels like warmth, like the soft glow of an ember. Good, he says. Most people listen only with their ears. In Zen, we listen with our whole being. The words ripple through you. You remember another story a student asked a Zen master, "How can I find peace?" The master replied, "Sit quietly and listen for the sound of the stream." The student strained his ears. "But I hear nothing," he said. The master smiled. "Then listen harder until even the silence sings." You look around the garden. It doesn't sing in the way you expected, but somehow you can sense its song. The delicate interplay of stillness and movement, light and shadow. What if the noise in your mind wasn't the problem? The master asks suddenly. What if the problem was your resistance to it? You blink at him, surprised. Could it really be that simple? Instead of fighting the noise, could you let it wash over you like the rustling of wind through leaves? You breathe in deeply, and for a moment there's nothing but the rise and fall of your chest, the air cool against your skin, the faint scent of pine. In the silence, you feel something begin to loosen, a knot in your stomach, a tension in your jaw. It's as if the garden is holding you, inviting you to simply exist. Silence is not emptiness, the master says gently. It is fullness too deep for words. The thought settles over you like a warm blanket. You let out a long, slow breath. When you finally stand to leave, the night air feels different, lighter, softer. The master rises too, and for the first time in a long while, you notice he hasn't spoken much. He hasn't needed to. The garden did the teaching. As you follow him through the gate, you wonder what would happen if you brought a little of this silent garden into your life. Could you create your own space for stillness even in a busy, noisy world? The gravel crunches under your feet, and the sound feels less like disruption now, and more like part of the symphony. You glance back one last time at the moss, the bamboo, the flickering lantern. A thought comes unbidden, gentle and reassuring. The silence is always here. You only have to enter. The old gatekeeper. Meeting an elderly monk whose wisdom changes how you see fear. The Zen master leads you along a winding path, and the air seems to grow heavier with the scent of cedar and aged wood. Ahead you see an old wooden gate, its frame leaning slightly as though it has borne centuries of rain and wind. Hanging from one corner is a faded lantern, its paper worn thin, but still glowing faintly in the night. As you approach, you notice a figure sitting cross-legged by the gate. He is an elderly monk, his robes patched in several places, his face lined with deep creases that seem to hold 1,000 stories. His eyes, though, are alive, bright and watchful like a child's. "This is the gatekeeper," your master says softly. He does not guard the gate. He watches it. The old monk lifts his gaze to you and smiles. "You have come far," he says, his voice low and raspy like leaves skittering across stone. "But do you know what you're carrying with you?" You pause, unsure how to answer. He gestures to a small woven basket beside him. Most travelers arrive here with burdens too heavy to pass through. The gate only opens for those willing to set something down. You glance at the gate. It doesn't look locked yet. There's something in the way it stands, quiet and unyielding, that makes you hesitate. "What are you afraid to leave behind?" the gatekeeper asks. Your mind stirs. Faces, memories, and fears rise like bubbles in water. The time you failed, and still blame yourself. The grudge you carry like armor. The belief that if you let go, you'll lose yourself. Fear clings like ivy to an old wall, the monk says, almost as if reading your thoughts. But the wall remains even when the ivy is gone. The Buddha once taught that fear is born from attachment, our craving for things to stay the same, or our resistance to what must change. You wonder, what would your life feel like without these attachments? You remember a Zen story about a samurai who asked a monk about heaven and hell. The monk insulted him, calling him a fool. The samurai, enraged, drew his sword. That the monk said calmly is hell. The samurai froze, understanding. Slowly he sheathed his sword, and that the monk said, "Smiling is heaven." Fear, you realize, is not always in the danger itself. It's in the clinging, the reaction. The gatekeeper hands you a small, flat stone. Write upon it what you wish to leave behind. There's no ink or brush, but as you hold the stone, words seem to form in your mind. Self-doubt, anger, the need to control. One by one they surface. You place the stone gently in the basket. A lightness spreads through your chest, and you hadn't noticed until now how tightly you've been holding your breath. The old monk nods approvingly. Good. The gate does not care what you carry out. It only asks what you're willing to leave behind. He rises slowly, joints creaking like old wood. With surprising strength, he pushes the gate open. It swings inward, silently, revealing a narrow path lined with glowing lanterns. Step through, he says. But remember, fear will try to follow. It always does. Walk lightly, and it cannot cling. As you cross the threshold, a cool breeze brushes against your face. You feel as though you've entered a new space, not just in the garden, but within yourself. Behind you, the gatekeeper smiles faintly. Each time you set something down, you grow lighter. Keep going. The gate closes softly, and ahead the path bends toward a grove of bamboo, swaying gently in the moonlight. The Zen master says nothing, but you sense his quiet approval as you walk beside him. There's no rush, no destination to reach. Only this moment and the next step. A question stirs in your mind. What else might I be carrying that I don't yet see? The path crunches beneath your feet, and though the night is still, the fear you carried feels like it's already dissolving into the earth. The bamboo grove. Lessons in resilience and flexibility from nature's quiet teacher. The air grows warmer as you follow the path, the sound of leaves brushing together like a gentle lullaby. Ahead, a grove of bamboo rises tall and sways softly, their slender bodies bending gracefully with every whisper of the wind. Moonlight filters down through the swaying stalks, scattering silver light across the path. The Zen master pauses at the edge of the grove and gestures for you to listen. Bamboo is hollow, he says quietly. It bends but does not break. It survives storms, not by resisting, but by yielding. You tilt your head listening. A faint creak rises and falls as the bamboo sways, their movements perfectly in tune with the invisible currents of air. The master steps into the grove, and you follow. The earth beneath your feet feels soft and cool. Each stalk rises impossibly high, their tips out of sight, swaying gently in unison as though breathing with the night. This grove teaches resilience, the master says, as he walks slowly between the stalks. Most people try to stand like oak trees, firm, immovable. But when the storm comes, they crack. The bamboo teaches us to bow and sway, and in this there is strength. You run your fingers along the smooth, cool surface of a stalk. It feels alive, yet utterly still rooted in the earth, and yet never rigid. You remember a Buddhist teaching. Everything is impermanent. Everything changes. Clinging to what must change is like trying to hold the wind in your hands. Could it be that true resilience comes not from fighting change, but flowing with it? The master stops and leans lightly against one of the stalks. There is a story, he says, of a monk who asked his teacher how to find peace. The teacher pointed to the bamboo and said, "See how it grows straight and empty inside. Be like that, upright and without clinging. You imagine yourself as bamboo, rooted deeply in your values, but hollow enough to let thoughts and emotions pass through. What would it feel like to stop gripping your ideas so tightly, to let them sway in the wind without snapping? As you walk, the sound of the bamboo surrounds you. A soft chorus of creaks and sighs, like the grove is speaking in a language beyond words. You pause, closing your eyes. You feel the breeze move across your face, hear it rustle through the leaves above. And in that stillness, something begins to loosen inside you. A question surfaces. What storms in your life have you been resisting? Could you let yourself bend instead of break? The master kneels and touches the earth, where a young bamboo shoot is just emerging. This one is new, he says. Yet even now it knows how to sway. It doesn't fight the wind. It learns from it. There's a calm strength in the way he says this, as though he's speaking to both the shoot and to you. You take a slow breath, imagining all the storms you've weathered, times when you fought to stand rigid, and times when you allowed yourself to sway. Which moments felt lighter, which moments brought peace. The master rises and continues walking. You notice how light his steps are, how his robes barely stir the air as he moves. Flexibility is not weakness, he says, glancing back at you. It is the wisdom of water, of wind, of bamboo. The strongest things in nature are never hard. They flow. You touch your own chest, feeling the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Perhaps there is a bamboo grove inside you too, ready to sway, ready to let go. At the heart of the grove, you find a small clearing where a single lantern glows. Its light flickers softly, casting long shadows across the swaying stalks. The master stops there, and for a long moment, neither of you speaks. Sit, he says finally. You lower yourself onto the cool earth, the scent of fresh leaves filling your nose. Above the bamboo, sways and creaks, their movement hypnotic. Watch, the master whispers. You watch, you breathe, you feel. And in that stillness you understand, resilience isn't about holding firm. It's about moving with the winds of life. Trusting that even in motion, your roots keep you grounded. The grove sighs around you, and for the first time in a long while, you let yourself sway. The flickering lantern, illuminating hidden attachments and gently setting them down. The grove begins to thin as you follow the Zen master further along the winding path. The sound of swaying bamboo fades, replaced by the faint crackle of firelight. Ahead you notice a small clearing where an old wooden lantern hangs from a post, its paper sides flickering softly in the night breeze. The lantern's glow is warm and unsteady, throwing shifting shadows across the grass. You pause at the edge of the light, feeling its gentle pull. This lantern, the master says softly, has lit the way for countless travelers. Its flame burns quietly, yet even the faintest wind can make it flicker. You step closer and kneel beside it. The flame wavers, stretching and shrinking as though it breathes. For a moment you're transfixed, not by its strength, but by its fragility. Your mind, the master continues, is like this lantern. At times steady and clear. At others unsteady, its light distorted by passing winds, attachments, fears, desires. You watch as the flame steadies again, glowing brighter for an instant before another breeze makes it dance wildly. The Buddha once taught desire is the root of suffering. You think of all the ways you've tried to control life, to hold the flame still, to guard it against every gust of wind. But control is exhausting, and no matter how tightly you shield the light, the wind comes anyway. What happens if you stop trying to fight the wind? The master asks quietly. You hesitate, unsure. He smiles faintly. You realize the wind and the light are not enemies. The flame flickers, yes, but it does not go out. It dances. You remember a Zen story about a monk who, in deep meditation, saw a candle blow out in his mind. He panicked, thinking he had lost his way. His teacher later told him, the flame was never yours to keep. It burns because it burns. You look at the lantern now, seeing it differently, not as something fragile to protect, but as something alive, moving in harmony with its surroundings. Attachments are like the hands cupped too tightly around this light, the master says, holding his palms close together as if shielding a flame. They block the air, and the flame suffocates. But if you open your hands, he spreads his palms wide. The light breathes. You think of the things you've been gripping so tightly, the need to be understood, the fear of failure, the longing for approval. What if just for tonight, you let them breathe? The breeze brushes your cheek, cool and refreshing. The lantern's light flickers wildly for a moment, then steadies again. You see, the master says, even when the wind comes, the light remains. It does not fight, it simply adjusts. You take a deep breath, feeling warmth spread through your chest. Maybe your mind too could adjust. There's a teaching in Zen about mu or nothingness. It is an emptiness, as in lacking, its openness, spaciousness, the ability to let things come and go without clinging. Could you make space in your heart for the wind and the flame, without demanding that either one stop? As you sit, a memory drifts into your mind, a moment years ago, when you felt certain you had lost your way. But somehow, you kept going, and here you are. The flame flickered then, but it didn't go out. What hidden attachments are still shaping your life? The master asks softly. What could you set down tonight, not forever, but just long enough to let your light breathe? The question lingers in the air like incense smoke. You close your eyes and picture yourself gently opening your hands. The breeze picks up again, and the lantern sways slightly. Shadows dance across the grass. The flame flickers, but stays alive, steady enough to guide you onward. The master rises his robes, whispering softly. Come, he says. The path continues. You stand and take one last look at the lantern, its glow now a little brighter in your eyes. It feels less like something fragile, more like a quiet companion lighting your way. As you step back onto the path, you realize maybe your mind doesn't have to be perfectly still. Maybe it only needs enough light to see the next step. And in this moment, that feels like enough. The empty pathway. Walking through emptiness to find fullness in the present moment. The night deepens as you leave the lantern behind. The path narrows again, leading you between two rows of low stone walls, their surfaces worn smooth by countless hands and seasons. Here there are no lanterns, no bamboo groves. Just the sound of your own footsteps on gravel and the faint whisper of wind over the stones. This is the empty pathway, the Zen master says quietly. It leads nowhere. It exists only to be walked. You pause, glancing ahead. The path seems to vanish into the darkness, its end hidden. But where does it go, you ask, before you can stop yourself? He smiles faintly. That question is your mind reaching for destination, for meaning. In Zen, we walk not to arrive, but to experience. You take a slow breath and step forward. The gravel crunches softly beneath your feet, and the sound feels louder in this stillness. You listen to it carefully, crunch, 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 each step a tiny moment of presence. As you walk, you think of the times you've rushed through life, hurrying to get somewhere, to be someone, to achieve something. And yet, here on this quiet path, there is nowhere to go but here. The Buddha once taught, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. But your mind resists. It keeps tugging you backward to memories, forward to imagined futures. You remember a Zen saying, when walking, walk. When sitting, sit. Above all, don't wobble. You smile at the simplicity of it. Could life really be that simple? The master slows his pace and points to a smooth stone resting beside the path. It's perfectly round, as though shaped by years of wind and rain. There is a story, he begins, of a monk who swept the temple courtyard every morning. One day a visitor asked him, "Why do you sweep? There is no dust." The monk replied, "I sweep not for dust, but to keep my mind clear." You picture the monk, brush in hand, moving with quiet purpose, not cleaning but practicing presence. What if your journey tonight is not about clearing the path, but clearing the mind that walks it? The Master asks. You let the thoughts settle like soft rain. Your eyes drift to the stars overhead, scattered like tiny lanterns in an infinite sky. Each one shines without striving, without needing to be brighter. Most people, the Master says, carry maps in their minds. They think, oh, I must go here, I must avoid there. But Zen teaches, let the map go. Walk the path before you and let it unfold. You notice how different this feels. Without rushing, without planning, each step feels lighter, almost as if the earth itself is carrying you. A question rises. What would your life feel like if you walked it this way? Not as a race to the next milestone, but as a series of steps, each complete in itself. Your mind flashes to the moments you've missed in the past meals, eaten in a rush. Conversations half-heard, days spent thinking of tomorrow. Could you choose differently now? The wind stirs gently, lifting your hair. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the sound of the world breathing around you. When you open them again, the Master is standing still, waiting for you to catch up. His presence feels steady and calm, like the stones themselves. Emptiness is not absence, he says. It is spaciousness. It is room for life to enter. You realize now that the path is not empty at all. It's full of sounds, textures, scents, each one unfolding as you pay attention. As you continue walking, you notice your steps have slowed even more. Your body feels lighter, your breath deeper. Perhaps you don't need to fill this moment with thoughts or plans. Perhaps it is enough to walk, to breathe, to feel the cool night air against your skin. The path bends gently, leading toward a faint glow in the distance. You are ready now, the Master says softly. One last teaching awaits. And as you walk, you sense the truth of his words, not as an idea in your mind, but as a quiet knowing in your heart. Each step feels like a release, like setting down something heavy you didn't realize you were carrying. For the first time tonight, you feel completely here. The teacup's gift. Embracing openness, humility, and freedom as your journey settles into stillness. The faint glow ahead grows brighter with each step, warm and steady, like the first rays of dawn. The path begins to widen, opening into a small clearing where a single teacup rests on a wooden pedestal. The cup is simple, white porcelain, smooth and unadorned, but it catches the light in a way that makes it almost luminous. The Zen Master stops a few paces away and gestures toward it. This is the teacup's gift, he says softly. Come closer and see. You approach slowly, your footsteps muffled by soft moss underfoot. When you reach the pedestal, you notice the cup is empty, yet there's a sense of fullness in its presence, as though it holds more than liquid could ever contain. An empty cup can be filled, the Master continues. A full cup cannot. His words settle into your mind like stones sinking to the bottom of a still pond. You remember the first story he told tonight of the student whose teacup overflowed as the Master poured a lesson about letting go of preconceptions to make space for new wisdom. Many people live their lives clinging to what they know, he says. They grip tightly to beliefs, roles, and even suffering, fearful of what will happen if they let go. But Zen reminds us it is only in emptiness that transformation is possible. You reach out and touch the cup's cool rim. For a moment you imagine all the things you've been holding in your own cup, old fears, regrets, even accomplishments you've used to define yourself. Could you pour them out even just for tonight? The breeze stirs gently and you feel it brush your skin like a whisper. There is a Zen story, the Master says, of a monk who carried a heavy jug of water up a mountain. When he reached the top, he was exhausted. The teacher asked him, "Why didn't you pour it out halfway?" The monk replied, "I was afraid to lose what I had." The teacher smiled and said, "And so you carried your own suffering." You look again at the teacup, empty and waiting. What if you lived like this cup, the Master asks? What if you released the need to hold on and allowed life to pour itself into you anew each day? Your heart softens at the thought. Maybe you don't need to carry so much. Maybe emptiness isn't something to fear, but to welcome. The Buddha once taught, you only lose what you cling to. As you breathe deeply, you wonder what might flow into my life if I stopped clutching so tightly. You remember how earlier tonight, the gatekeeper asked what you were afraid to leave behind. You think of all the invisible burdens you've placed in that basket. And now standing here, you feel the quiet truth of it. Every time you set something down, you make space for peace. The Master's voice lowers, becoming softer and slower like a lullaby. Tonight, let yourself be empty, not as a void, but as a vessel. Let go of your worries. Let go of who you think you should be. Let go of striving and rest here just as you are. You close your eyes, the cool night air kissing your cheeks. In the distance, you hear the faint sound of water trickling, of leaves rustling gently. Your breath grows slower, deeper, as though syncing with the rhythm of the garden around you. The Master steps back, his presence quiet and steady. Remember, he whispers, the teacup is most useful when it is empty. Your heart is the same. A sense of lightness spreads through you, not dramatic, but soft, like a silk cloth lifting from your shoulders. As the breeze caresses your face, you imagine the last traces of tension dissolving into the night air. The lanterns in the distance begin to dim, their warm light fading as though inviting you to follow them into sleep. Your eyelids grow heavy. Each breath feels slower, like the tide receding gently from the shore. And as you stand there with the empty teacup before you, a simple truth rises in your heart, like a quiet promise. You are enough. You always have been. The Zen Master's voice lingers in your mind, softer now, almost a whisper. Let go and let yourself be held. The breeze sighs through the trees. The last lantern flickers, then goes out. And in the vast stillness, you feel it, peace flowing through you like water into an open cup. As your breath slows, feel every worry slip away like leaves floating down a quiet stream. Peace is here, always has been. Let this stillness cradle you tonight. May your dreams be light, and may you awaken with an open heart. Buddhist teachings. For relaxation, vertical bar, the quiet mountain, mindfulness in every step, gentle storytelling and soothing music. 2 hours. Buddhist teachings. For relaxation, vertical bar, the quiet mountain, mindfulness in every step, gentle storytelling and soothing music. 2. The mountain path. Beginning a mindful journey with each step towards stillness and clarity. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine standing at the base of a quiet mountain where the air is cool and pure, and every breath feels like a gentle reset for your spirit. The winding path before you is shaded by ancient pines, their branches swaying softly as if whispering secrets to the breeze. You can almost hear the rhythmic crunch of gravel beneath your feet as you take the first step upward. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you listen, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from tonight, and what time is it there? Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You take your first steps along the narrow mountain trail. The gravel shifts gently under your weight, each sound crisp in the cool evening air. Your breath moves slowly, a little deeper now. As you climb, and with every exhale, it feels as though a small weight rolls off your shoulders. This path is not steep, not yet. It rises gently, inviting you to settle into its rhythm. One step, then another. Your mind begins to quiet as you notice small details, the way moss clings to the rocks, the delicate curl of a fern unfolding beside the path, the faint scent of pine needles warmed by the fading sun. The Zen master once said, "When you walk, just walk." And though it sounds simple, you realize how rarely you do. So often your mind wanders into yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's worries. But here on this path, you're practicing something different: presence. Each step becomes an anchor. Left foot, right foot. The earth beneath you feels solid, supportive. The air fills your lungs with a coolness that seems to sweep your mind clean. There's an old Zen story about a student who asked his teacher, "How can I practice mindfulness while walking?" The teacher replied, "Walk as if your feet are kissing the earth." You try this now. With each step, you imagine a gentle kiss, a moment of gratitude for the ground that holds you. Your pace slows and something inside softens. The Buddha taught peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Could it be that peace has nothing to do with reaching the mountain's peak and everything to do with how you walk this very step? The breeze brushes across your cheek, cool and tender, and you hear the faint murmur of leaves overhead. It's as if the mountain itself is breathing with you. You notice a small stone on the path and pause to pick it up. It's smooth and round, worn by years of wind and rain. You turn it in your hand, feeling its cool weight. A thought arises. What if you carried no more than this stone? What if for just tonight, you set down the heavy burdens of thought and expectation? Ahead, the path curves gently to the left, disappearing behind a grove of whispering pines. As you take another step, you feel a subtle shift, like the mountain is inviting you to slow even more, to listen with your whole being. You pause for a moment, placing your hand on the rough bark of a tree. It feels solid, ancient, and yet it sways ever so slightly in the wind. What would it feel like to root yourself deeply in this moment, yet remain flexible like this tree, strong enough to stand, soft enough to bend? A dragonfly flits across the path, its wings catching the last light of day. You watch it hover weightless, its movement effortless and free. The gravel crunches again under your foot as you resume your walk. There's no rush, no destination, just this step and then the next. And as you move forward, you realize, perhaps mindfulness isn't about clearing the mind or forcing stillness. Perhaps it's about noticing the crunch of gravel, the cool breeze, the rhythm of your breath. Each step feels lighter now, as though the mountain is quietly carrying you. The path ahead narrows slightly, leading toward the whispering pines, their long needles swaying in the soft night air. You take one more slow breath and step forward. The whispering pines, learning presence. From the sound of wind moving through ancient trees. The air shifts as you move into the grove of whispering pines. Their tall, slender trunks rise high into the darkening sky, and their needles sway gently in the evening breeze. The sound they make is subtle, but mesmerizing, like 1,000 tiny voices speaking all at once. Or the soft rustle of silk robes brushing against stone floors in an old monastery. You pause for a moment to listen. The sound seems to wash over you, sinking into your skin and quieting the small thoughts still drifting through your mind. This is the voice of the mountain, you think to yourself. Not loud or commanding, just steady, soft, and endless. You take another slow step forward, noticing how even the ground feels different here. A thick carpet of fallen pine needles muffles your footsteps, and the faint scent of resin fills your lungs with every inhale. The Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." Listening here, you realize that sometimes words aren't needed at all. There's a Zen practice called Kinnin walking meditation. Monks practice it by walking slowly, almost imperceptibly focusing on the sensation of each foot touching the ground. Left foot, right foot, breath in, breath out. Nothing more. You imagine the monks walking silently through a pine grove. Like this robes whispering faintly, their minds anchored in each deliberate step. What would it feel like to carry this same level of presence in your own life, not only here on this mountain, but in the busyness of the world below? A bird calls high above, its song echoing faintly through the canopy. You tilt your head, following the sound, until it fades back into the hush of the trees. A question arises, gentle as the breeze brushing your cheek. What noises have you been listening to lately? The noise of the world or the quiet voice within? You notice a pine cone at your feet, its scales tight and symmetrical. You pick it up and turn it slowly in your hands. Its surface is rough but balanced, each layer opening just enough to let air flow through. Maybe this is how my mind could be too, you think, not clenched tight, not blown open by the winds, just enough space for life to move through. The path curves gently, and you see a clearing ahead where a small stone bench sits beneath a particularly large pine tree. Its roots twist and rise above the earth like a giant hand cradling the soil. You step closer and sit down on the cool stone. The bench feels solid, grounding. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sounds of the grove surround you. The pines whisper. The breeze sighs. Somewhere in the distance, a stream gurgles faintly over rocks. In the stillness, a memory surfaces, rushing through your day, your thoughts scattered like dry leaves in the wind. Here, the leaves settle softly to the ground. A Zen master once asked a student, "What is the sound of the wind?" The student listened carefully and said, "It is the rustling of leaves." The master shook his head. "No, it is not the wind that moves, it is your mind." You smile, faintly understanding now. The pine needles sway gently above you, their movement effortless, graceful. And in this moment, you feel your own breath fall into that same rhythm, steady, unforced, alive. As you open your eyes, the master's words echo in your memory. Walk like a cloud drifting across the sky. Listen like the pine listens to the wind. The grove feels less like a place you're passing through and more like an old friend welcoming you into its quiet embrace. You rise slowly from the bench, your hand brushing against the rough bark of the tree. The path continues, leading toward the sound of running water, the stream you heard faintly before. You take another mindful step, feeling the pine needles shift beneath your feet. The whispering trees seem to murmur their farewell as you leave the grove. And as you walk, you notice a soft truth settling into your heart. Peace doesn't shout, it whispers. The Hermit's Hut, a lesson on simplicity and contentment from a wandering monk. The path narrows again as you leave the whispering pines behind. The air feels slightly warmer here, scented with wildflowers growing along the edge of the trail. You hear the gurgle of water more clearly now. And soon you find yourself standing before a small wooden bridge spanning a shallow mountain stream. The water sparkles in the moonlight as it rushes over smooth stones, its sound steady and soothing. You pause for a moment, leaning on the wooden railing, and watch as fallen leaves drift past, carried effortlessly downstream. Maybe this is how my thoughts could move too. You whisper, inwardly, flowing instead of clinging. The Zen master steps lightly onto the bridge and glances back at you. The stream does not hold on to the leaves, he says. It lets them pass. That is why it stays clear. You take another slow breath, feeling the cool air fill your lungs. The Buddha once said, "You cannot step into the same river twice." You watch the water rush by and realize each moment is new, unrepeatable. As you cross the bridge, you notice a faint light ahead. Nestled at the base of a rocky slope is a small hut made of weathered wood and thatched roof. Smoke curls gently from its chimney, carrying the scent of burning cedar. This is the hermit's hut, the master says softly. He chose this mountain not to escape life, but to meet it fully. You approach the hut and see a wooden sign above the door, etched with a single character, Mu, nothingness. The door creaks open, and an elderly hermit appears. His robe is simple, patched in places, and his face is lined from years of mountain air and quiet contemplation. Yet his eyes are bright and warm, like lanterns in the dark. "You've come far," he says with a gentle smile. "But are you carrying too much to rest here?" You hesitate, unsure how to answer. He gestures to a low bench outside his hut. "Sit, share tea." You lower yourself onto the bench, and the hermit pours steaming water over a small bundle of green leaves. The scent of fresh tea rises into the night air, earthy and calming. As he hands you a cup, he says, "This tea is simple. It does not wish to be wine or medicine. It is enough as it is." You take a sip, feeling the warmth spread through your chest. The hermit smiles faintly. People are not so different. But they forget. You think of all the ways you've tried to be more successful, more admired, more in control. And yet here in this quiet place, you feel the first stirrings of something you had long forgotten: contentment. There's a Zen story about a wandering monk who asked a farmer, "What is the way to enlightenment?" The farmer replied, "I don't know about enlightenment, but I know how to plant rice." The monk smiled and said, "Then you are closer than you think." The hermit pours himself a cup and gazes at the moon. "You've climbed far," he says, "but there is no summit to reach. Mindfulness is not about arriving. It is about noticing every step, even the ones that lead nowhere. The Buddha once taught, 'Few among men are they who cross to the further shore. The others run to and fro on this bank.' Could it be that crossing over isn't about leaving your life behind, but simply stepping into it with open eyes and a quiet heart?" The hermit places the empty teapot beside him. "Tell me," he asks gently, "what are you still carrying?" You close your eyes for a moment, and images rise like leaves on the stream, expectations, worries, even pride. One by one they drift past. When you open your eyes, the hermit is still watching you, his gaze steady but kind. "Leave them here," he says softly. "This mountain needs nothing from you but your presence." The tea has cooled in your cup, but its warmth lingers in your hands. The hermit rises slowly and steps back inside his hut, the door closing with a faint click. You stand as well, feeling the soft earth beneath your feet. The master is waiting a few paces down the trail, his posture as relaxed as ever. As you leave the hut, the night feels different, quieter somehow. You glance back and see the faint glow of the chimney smoke curling into the starry sky. And you wonder, what if my life could be as simple as this tea? Nothing more, nothing less. Enough. You take another mindful step, the sound of the stream fading behind you. The mountain's path rises again, and you follow it gently upward, the air growing cooler, the stars brighter above. The echoing stream, noticing how thoughts flow like water and learning to release them. The path winds upward again, narrow and uneven, hugging the side of the mountain. The air feels crisper now, each breath filling your lungs with a fresh, almost electric coolness. Ahead, you hear the unmistakable sound of running water, soft at first, then growing louder as you approach. Soon you emerge into a clearing where a stream tumbles over polished stones, its surface sparkling in the moonlight. The water is clear, so clear you can see smooth pebbles lining the bottom. And here and there, tiny fish darting in and out of shadow. The Zen master stops and crouches at the water's edge, cupping his hands to scoop a drink. You join him, kneeling down to watch the water swirl and flow. Its rhythm is hypnotic, constant, effortless, alive. This stream, the master says softly, is like the mind. It flows whether we notice it or not. But most people do not see the water, they see only the reflections of their own worries. You watch your reflection tremble on the surface, broken and remade again, as the water ripples over the stones. The Buddha once taught, you cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. You dip your fingers into the cold stream. The current tugs gently at your hand, carrying tiny leaves and twigs past you. So this is how thoughts move too, you think. They come, they go, carried by the current, carried by. The Zen master picks up a smooth, oval stone from the stream bed and hands it to you. Its surface is cool and wet, its weight solid in your palm. Thoughts are like this stone, he says. You can hold it tightly, clutch it to your chest, and carry it for miles. Or he opens his hand and lets another stone drop back into the stream with a soft splash. You can let it return to the water and watch it drift away. You close your eyes, imagining the stones you've been carrying, resentments, doubts, fears, and wonder what it would feel like to let them go. There's a Zen story of two monks crossing a river. They see a woman struggling to cross, and though monks were forbidden to touch women, one of them picks her up and carries her across. Hours later, the other monk says angrily, "Why did you do that? It was against the rules." The first monk smiles and replies, "I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" You smile faintly at the story, then open your hand and let the stone slip from your fingers into the stream. The water accepts it without hesitation, carrying it away like it was never yours to hold. Can you see now, the master asks. The mind is not a container for thoughts. It is the stream itself. When you stop clinging, the water clears. You watch as the stone vanishes into deeper water, leaving only tiny ripples behind. Do not fight the current, the master whispers. It knows the way. You sit back on your heels listening. The sound of the water fills your ears, not loud, but insistent, like a teacher repeating a lesson until it sinks in. A breeze stirs the branches above, and a few pine needles drift down, landing gently on the water's surface. They're swept along, without resistance, their journey effortless. What would my life feel like if I floated this way, you wonder, trusting the current to carry me instead of swimming against it? The stream gurgles softly, and you notice how the water never lingers in one place. It's always moving, always becoming something new. Most people fear letting go because they think they'll lose themselves, the master says quietly. But in truth, only the clinging self dissolves. What's real remains. You glance down at your reflection again. This time it looks softer, somehow less rigid. The Zen master stands his robe whispering against the grass. The path continues, he says. You rise too. And as you step away from the stream, the sound follows you for a little while. Like a gentle reminder. Let go, flow on. The path rises gently now, leading toward a ridge where the wind hums faintly through low bushes. The stars feel closer somehow, their cold, steady light guiding your steps. And for the first time, in a long while, your thoughts feel as clear as the water you left behind. The watchful crane, cultivating patience and observation through the eyes of a silent guardian. The path begins to level out as you leave the sound of the stream behind. The air feels thinner here, tinged with a crispness that wakes your senses without effort. In the distance, you see a flat stretch of stone leading to a still pond. Its surface reflects the night sky so perfectly that for a moment, it feels as though you're walking among the stars. At the edge of the pond, a crane stands motionless. Its long neck curves elegantly, and its slender legs barely disturb the water beneath it. You stop walking, afraid. Even the sound of your breath might disturb this delicate scene. The Zen master raises a hand, signaling for you to pause. This crane, he whispers, has stood here for hours. It moves only when it must. Watch carefully. You shift your weight slowly, your eyes fixed on the bird. Its white feathers glow softly in the moonlight, and for a moment it seems almost carved from stillness itself. The Buddha taught that patience is not passive, the Master says gently. It is active waiting full of awareness. Like the crane, a light breeze stirs the pond, rippling its glassy surface. Still the crane does not move. Its eyes remain fixed on the water below, waiting for the right moment to strike. You think of all the times you've been restless, rushing through tasks, conversations, even meals, believing you had to keep moving to feel alive. Yet, here in the presence of the crane, you sense another kind of energy, quiet, alert, deeply present. There's a Zen story of a young monk who complained to his teacher about boredom during meditation. "What should I do when I feel restless?" he asked. The teacher replied, "Be still. Let the restlessness teach you." You wonder, what would it feel like to stand as still as this crane, letting your mind settle like silt in a pond? As you continue to watch, a fish breaks the surface, sending ripples across the water. The crane strikes suddenly, its beak a blur, and then stands tall again, a small fish glinting in its mouth. It's over in an instant, yet the bird seems unchanged. No hurry, no pride, only the quiet continuation of its watchfulness. The crane teaches us the strength of waiting, the Master says. Patience does not mean doing nothing. It means acting only when the time is right. You take a slow breath, feeling how often you've leapt into action out of fear or habit rather than stillness. The crane swallows its catch and settles once more, returning to perfect stillness. You watch its reflection ripple in the water and imagine your own mind, like that pond, restless at first, then slowly smoothing into calm. "What are you waiting for?" the Master asks softly. "And can you wait with an open heart, without grasping for the outcome?" You close your eyes, feeling the cool night air against your skin. The question lingers like incense smoke. When you open your eyes again, the crane has stepped deeper into the pond, its reflection merging with the stars above. The Master turns and begins walking again. You follow, your footsteps lighter now, your mind carrying the image of the crane poised, calm, patient. As you climb the next slope, you hear the faint sound of a bell ringing somewhere higher on the mountain. Its deep tone rolls gently through the night air, pulling your attention upward. The path curves and rises again, leading you toward the sound. Perhaps mindfulness is not about reaching, but about watching, waiting, and knowing when to move. You think as you take the next step. The bell at dawn. Awakening awareness with the sound of a single resonant bell. The faint tolling of the bell grows clearer as you climb higher. Its deep, resonant sound rolls through the mountain air like a slow breath, each tone hanging in the night before fading into silence. The path levels out at a wide stone terrace where a small wooden bell tower stands. A single bronze bell sways gently in the cool breeze, its surface dulled by time, but still catching the moonlight in soft glimmers. The Zen Master stops a few paces from the tower and gestures for you to listen. This bell, he says softly, rings not to mark time, but to wake the mind. You take a seat on a smooth, flat stone near the edge of the terrace. From here, the mountain drops away sharply, revealing a vast stretch of forest below, and the faint glow of villages scattered in the distance. The bell sways again, its voice deep and steady, like the heartbeat of the mountain itself. The sound seems to vibrate through your body, dissolving thought, softening tension in your shoulders and jaw. The Buddha once taught, when the mind is quiet, the whole universe surrenders. You wonder if this is what he meant, not the silence of absence, but the fullness of a single sound, filling all space. The Zen Master crouches beside you. There is a story, he says, of a young monk tasked with ringing the bell at dawn. On his first morning, he struck the bell too softly, and no one stirred. The next day, he struck it too hard, and the sound jarred everyone awake. On the third day, the abbot whispered, "Ring the bell, not with your hands, but with your heart." The monk bowed and understood. You close your eyes as the bell tolls again. This time you feel it not just in your ears, but in your chest, resonating deep in your ribs. What would it feel like to live this way? You wonder, not striking at life too hard or too soft, but moving with the rhythm of the heart. In Zen monasteries, the bell is struck before meditation begins, not as a command, but as an invitation to return to listen, to be fully present. You let the next sound of the bell flow through you like a wave, noticing how it rises and fades without effort. Each tone feels like a breath, gathering, peaking, releasing. Life is like this bell, the master says gently. It asks only that you listen deeply. You don't need to cling to the sound. You don't need to silence it. Just listen. The breeze brushes against your face, carrying the faint scent of pine resin and cool stone. You open your eyes and watch the bell sway in its frame. Perfectly balanced, moving only as much as the wind allows. A question drifts across your mind. What bells in my own life have I ignored? What would happen if I stopped and listened? The Zen master rises silently and begins to walk toward a narrow staircase cut into the rock at the far side of the terrace. You follow the sound of the bell growing softer behind you. Even as it fades, you feel its tone lingering inside you, not as a sound anymore, but as a stillness. The path leads upward again, winding toward the highest point of the mountain. The stars above seem closer now, their light sharper, cooler. And as you walk, you notice how the silence between the bell's tolls feels just as rich as the sound itself. Perhaps this is mindfulness too. You think, not filling every space with words or action, but letting moments ring out and fade naturally. The bell tolls once more, distant now, and the sound seems to echo inside your chest like a memory. You take another slow breath and step forward. The summit is near, the empty summit. Arriving at stillness and discovering that there is nowhere to go. The path grows steeper as you near the summit, the air cooler and thinner now, carrying a faint scent of stone and wild herbs. Each step feels deliberate, your body swaying slightly with the rhythm of your breath. There is no sound but the soft crunch of gravel beneath your feet and the occasional whisper of wind brushing across the mountainside. And then, suddenly, you arrive. The summit opens into a wide plateau of smooth stone. The view stretches endlessly in all directions, forests blanketing the valleys below, distant rivers glinting like silver threads in the moonlight. And beyond them, hills rising and falling like gentle waves frozen in time. The sky above seems impossibly vast, a dome of quiet stars pulsing faintly in the darkness. The Zen master stops a few paces ahead and turns to face you. His robes flutter lightly in the breeze. "This is the empty summit," he says softly. "There is nothing here to find, and yet everything is present." You glance around. There are no shrines, no statues, no markers of arrival. Only open space, clean and uncluttered. For a moment you feel a twinge of confusion. You've walked so far expecting something. A moment of triumph, a revelation. But there is only this windstone sky. The Buddha once taught, better than conquering 1,000 battles is the one who conquers himself. And slowly you begin to understand. The mountain was never something to climb. It was something to meet. The Zen master gestures for you to sit, and you lower yourself onto the cool stone. The air feels different here. Not heavy or thin, but alive. As though the mountain itself is breathing with you. This summit, the master says, teaches us the fullness of emptiness. So many people climb and climb, only to find there is no peak, only space. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. The wind is steady, but gentle its sound, weaving around you like an old song. There's a Zen story of a student who asked, "What is enlightenment?" The teacher replied, "The sound of the wind in the pines." You smile faintly. Perhaps the answer was never in words. but in this stillness, in this simple act of noticing. The Master's voice lowers to a whisper. What are you searching for? You inhale deeply. In your mind, you see the images of things you thought you needed, success, approval, certainty, and they fade like clouds dissolving in the sky. Maybe I'm not searching anymore, you think. Maybe I'm just here. The Master rises and looks out over the valleys below. The summit is not the end, he says. It is the place where you realize there is no need to arrive. You watch as a shooting star streaks briefly across the horizon, its trail vanishing almost as soon as it appears. The Zen master smiles faintly. You see, even the stars do not hold on. You feel your breath settle into a slower rhythm. Each inhale feels like the mountain filling your lungs. Each exhale feels like the mountain letting go. There's nothing to do now but sit and breathe. No more steps to climb, no more questions to answer. You open your eyes and gaze at the horizon. For the first time, you notice how the mountain itself seems utterly unconcerned with being climbed. It just is. What would it feel like to live this way, you wonder, to be rather than to become? The wind brushes across your face cool and light, carrying the faint scent of pine from the valleys below. You feel your shoulders soften, your jaw unclench. Here at the empty summit, you realize perhaps you were never climbing toward anything at all. Perhaps every step was the summit. The Master turns and begins walking again, leading the way down a gentle slope that curls back toward the forest below. You rise slowly, your body light, as though the mountain itself has lifted some unseen weight from your heart. As you follow, you take one last glance back at the summit, bare, quiet, perfect in its emptiness. And then you step forward, ready to carry the mountain's silence with you. The returning path, carrying the mountain's quiet wisdom back into everyday life. The path downward feels softer beneath your feet, as though the mountain is guiding you gently home. The air is warmer here, scented faintly with earth and pine, and the sound of leaves rustling in the breeze returns like a familiar melody. Each step feels lighter than the ones that brought you up, as if the mountain's quiet has seeped into your bones. Ahead, the Zen master walks with slow, steady movements. He does not speak yet. His silence feels rich with meaning, an unspoken reminder that words are often too small for the truths we carry. You pause for a moment as the trail opens into a meadow bathed in soft moonlight. Fireflies dance lazily above the grass, their faint glow blinking in and out like the rhythm of a sleeping breath. This, the Master says at last, is the returning path. It does not bring you back to where you began. It brings you forward with new eyes. You take a slow breath, feeling how your chest rises and falls with ease. The mountain's teachings echo quietly in your heart, the mindful steps on gravel, the whisper of pines, the stillness of the crane, the deep resonance of the bell, the empty summit. Each moment felt small as it unfolded, but now they weave together like threads in a tapestry, simple, quiet, and whole. The Buddha once said, "As a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life." You touch your chest lightly, feeling the warmth of your own heartbeat. Perhaps mindfulness isn't something to achieve, but something to remember, like returning to a place you've always belonged. There's a Zen story of a student who asked, "What happens after enlightenment?" The Master replied, "You carry water and chop wood." You smile faintly at the simplicity of it. The mountain's quiet is not meant to stay on the mountain. It is meant to flow back into your steps, your words, your daily life. As you leave the meadow and step back into the shaded forest, the night feels alive. With gentle sounds, the chirp of crickets, the distant burble of a stream, the soft whisper of wind through leaves. The Master stops and turns to you one last time. "You are ready now," he says softly. "Take each step as if it matters, because it does." You bow your head slightly in gratitude. The path ahead is still long, but it no longer feels daunting. You know now that every step is its own destination. The lanterns of the village glow faintly in the valley below, welcoming you back. And as you walk, you carry with you the mountain stillness woven into your breath, your body, your being. The night deepens around you, and your breath grows slower, softer. The sound of the breeze in the trees feels like a lullaby, each note wrapping gently around your mind. You can almost feel the mountain's presence lingering steady, quiet, and eternal. As your body sinks deeper into stillness, imagine yourself walking again on that narrow path, each step light and effortless. The stars above twinkle like watchful eyes, and the air feels cool and soothing against your skin. Each breath carries away the remnants of tension like leaves floating downstream. The thoughts that once tugged at you so urgently now drift by gentle and harmless. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to hold them. Let them come, let them go. Remember what the crane taught you. Stillness is strength. Remember the bell's deep resonance presence is a soundless sound. Remember the summit emptiness is not lacking. It is fullness beyond words. There is nothing more to do tonight, no more mountains to climb. You are exactly where you need to be. Let your breath deepen, slow and steady like waves brushing the shore. Feel your body grow heavier, sinking into the quiet that surrounds you. The mountain whispers its final teaching. You are enough. You have always been enough. As your eyelids grow heavy and your breath softens to a gentle rhythm, let this stillness cradle you. You are safe. You are held. Sleep now and let the quiet of the mountain guide you into peaceful dreams. Wisdom for Sleep Vertical Bar. The lanterns glow. Zen reflections on simplicity and peace. The flickering flame. A monk teaches how a lantern's light mirrors the mind's stillness. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine a quiet mountain village, where the only light comes from small lanterns glowing softly in the dark. Their flames flicker gently, swaying with the breeze, and each glow feels like a tiny heart beating in the night. As you walk slowly down the path, you notice how even this gentle light seems enough to guide your way. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're here, let me know in the comments where you're listening from tonight and what time it is there. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You sit quietly in a dimly lit room, the scent of old wood and faint incense hanging in the air. In the center of the room, a single lantern flickers on a low table. Its flame dances slightly, glowing golden against the paper walls. You notice how its light stretches into the corners of the room, soft and unhurried. A Zen monk sits opposite you, his posture relaxed but perfectly upright. His face is calm, illuminated by the lantern's glow. He speaks in a voice as soft as the flame itself. This lantern is like the mind, he says. When the air is still, the flame shines steady. When the air stirs, the flame flickers. But whether steady or dancing, the light never disappears. You watch the lantern carefully, seeing how even the faintest draft causes the flame to waver. It doesn't resist. It bends and flows, always returning to its center. The Buddha once taught peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. As you sit there, you wonder, how many times have I looked for calm in the world, forgetting that the light was always here inside me? The monk leans forward slightly. Most people fear the flicker. They try to shield the flame with their hands, but in doing so, they block the air. the flame suffocates. You think of all the ways you've tried to control your thoughts, pushing some away, clinging to others. Could it be that this struggle is like cupping your hands too tightly around the lantern? There's a Zen story about a student who asked, "How do I calm my mind?" The master replied, "Your mind is like this lantern. If you stop fanning it, the flame will settle on its own. You take a slow breath, letting it fill your lungs, and release gently. Already the tightness in your chest begins to soften. Let your thoughts flicker," the monk says quietly. "Notice them, but do not chase them. The flame will find its own rhythm." You watch the lantern again. Its glow doesn't fight the air, it moves with it. Up, down, swaying, then steady. Outside, the wind shifts slightly, rattling a bamboo chime. The sound is soft, almost playful. You realize that life is like this breeze, sometimes calm, sometimes stirring. And yet through it all, the lantern's glow remains. What would it feel like, the monk asks, if you let your mind be like this flame, steady even as it flickers? You close your eyes and imagine the glow spreading within you. It fills your chest, your arms, even the space behind your eyes. The flicker is there, yes, but the light never goes out. The monk rises slowly, his robes whispering against the floor. "Simplicity is not found in still air," he says. "It is found in a mind that does not resist the wind." As he steps to the door, the lantern glows brighter for a moment, casting long shadows on the walls. You watch the flame sway gently, then settle again. And in this quiet room, with the glow of the lantern warming your skin, you feel the first stirrings of peace, soft, steady, and alive. The monk glances back at you one last time. "The flame is enough," he says, "and so are you." You take another deep breath, letting it roll out slowly like a wave receding from shore. Outside, the night feels calm, welcoming. The faint sound of flowing water calls to you from somewhere beyond the door. And as you rise to follow, you notice how even the smallest light can make the darkness beautiful. The potter's hands. Lessons on emptiness and form from shaping a simple clay bowl. You step out into the cool night air, the wooden door sliding shut behind you with a gentle thud. The lantern's glow lingers in your mind as you walk along a narrow path lit by moonlight. Gravel crunches softly underfoot, and a faint breeze carries the earthy scent of clay and water. Ahead, you see a small workshop tucked beneath a grove of old cedar trees. Its windows glow faintly, and inside, the silhouette of a figure moves slowly, hands working with careful precision. As you draw closer, you hear the soft rhythm of water dripping, a wheel turning, and clay being shaped under steady fingers. The Zen master is there, seated cross-legged beside the open door. "This is the potter," he says, his voice low and calm. "Watch her hands, and you will see what it means to shape simplicity." You pause at the doorway, reluctant to disturb the stillness. Inside, a woman sits at a potter's wheel, her hands coated in damp clay. She leans forward slightly, fingers guiding the spinning earth into a perfect form. Each movement is deliberate, yet effortless. She doesn't rush, doesn't hesitate. The clay responds to her touch, rising smoothly into the shape of a bowl. The potter does not force the clay, the master whispers. She listens to it, allows it to teach her what it wants to become. You watch as her thumbs press lightly against the center, hollowing the bowl in one fluid gesture. The clay surrenders to her touch, soft yet strong. The Buddha once taught, "Form is emptiness, emptiness is form." You think of this as the bowl takes shape. Its usefulness lies not in the clay, but in the empty space it holds. What would it feel like to live this way? You wonder, shaping my life gently, leaving space for emptiness, to give it meaning. The potter lifts her hands for a moment, and the wheel slows. She studies the bowl carefully, her eyes soft and patient. There's a Zen story about a master who asked his student to bring him a cup of water. When the student returned, the master said, "Pour it into my cup." The student hesitated. "But master, your cup is already full." The master smiled. "Then how can you give me more? You realize now how often you've tried to fill your days with plans, thoughts, and noise, forgetting to leave space for life itself to flow in." The potter dips her fingers into a bowl of water and smooths the rim of the clay vessel. Her hands move like they're part of the wheel part of the earth itself. "The mind is like this clay," the master says softly. "It can be shaped gently into stillness or hardened by grasping too tightly." You close your eyes for a moment, imagining your own thoughts like soft clay, pliable, shifting, waiting to be shaped. The wheel slows to a stop, and the potter lifts the bowl carefully, placing it on a wooden shelf lined with other simple vessels. Some are large, some small, but that all carry the same sense of quiet purpose. Notice how no two bowls are the same, the master says. Yet each holds space equally well. You take a slow breath, letting the thoughts sink in. Perhaps simplicity isn't about stripping life down to nothing, but about allowing enough room for what matters most. The potter looks up at you, her eyes kind and steady. "The bowl is empty," she says softly, "so it can hold whatever you pour into it." You bow slightly in gratitude, and she returns the gesture before turning back to her wheel. As you step away from the workshop, the night feels even quieter than before. The sound of the wheel spinning fades behind you, replaced by the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. The Zen master walks ahead, his hands clasped lightly behind his back. "Life does not ask us to mold it perfectly," he says. "It asks only that we hold it gently with space enough to let it breathe." You follow the narrow path as it winds back into the forest. Lanterns glow faintly in the distance, their light swaying with the breeze. And as you walk, you imagine your mind as a bowl, empty open, ready to be filled with stillness. The gentle rain. Mindful listening as a doorway into the heart of simplicity. The path curves gently and the sound of dripping water reaches your ears. At first, it is faint, so faint you're not sure if you're imagining it. Then, as you walk on, the sound deepens into the soft rhythm of rain falling on leaves. The Zen master stops and tilts his head slightly as if listening to a secret. "This is where we pause," he whispers. "Here the rain teaches us to listen." You look around. A fine mist hangs in the air, clinging to the low branches of the trees. The forest canopy above lets only scattered drops slip through each one, landing with a soft pat, pat, on moss, stone, and earth. You step off the path and onto a patch of soft grass, your shoes sinking slightly into the damp ground. The air smells clean sharp, with the scent of rain and pine. Most people hear rain only as background noise, the master says, but the rain carries teachings for those who are still enough to listen. You close your eyes. At first, the sound feels chaotic, random drops here and there, no pattern. But as you listen more deeply, a rhythm begins to emerge. You notice how some drops land heavy on broad leaves, others drip lightly onto the forest floor, and some slide along branches before falling with a final delicate tap. The Buddha once taught, when you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Could it be that peace doesn't arrive in grand waves, but in these tiny drops, each one a reminder to slow down and simply be? There's a Zen story of a monk who meditated beside a stream during a storm. Another monk asked, "Why do you not seek shelter?" The first monk replied, "Where would I find shelter from myself? The rain falls outside, but my mind decides whether I'm wet." You smile faintly as you let a few drops of rain kiss your face. The cool water feels refreshing, almost like a gentle hand urging you awake. The master kneels on the moss, his posture relaxed but attentive. Rain does not try to be anything other than what it is, he says. It falls where it falls. It nourishes where it can. And it leaves when the clouds pass. Your breath slows as you listen not only with your ears, but with your whole body. Each drop feels like a note in a quiet song, and suddenly the world seems filled with music. What would it feel like, you wonder, to move through life like the rain, soft, unhurried, nourishing, and free? The master picks up a small leaf, cupping a single raindrop. He holds it gently between his fingers and shows it to you. See how the drop rests in the leaf, he says. It does not cling. It does not resist. It simply exists, perfect as it is. You watch as the drop trembles slightly, then slips from the leaf and falls silently to the earth. And in that small moment, something inside you loosens like a knot coming undone. The breeze shifts and the rain begins to ease, leaving behind the scent of wet earth and the glitter of droplets clinging to every branch and blade of grass. The master rises and begins walking again. Listen carefully, he says over his shoulder. The rain has passed, but its song still echoes. Carry it with you. As you step back onto the path, you feel lighter somehow, as if the rain has washed not just the leaves, but also your thoughts. The forest opens slightly ahead, and you see the faint outline of a wooden pavilion perched on a small hill. A lantern glows warmly at its entrance, calling you forward. You take another slow breath, letting the air fill your lungs with the scent of rain moss and pine. And as you walk, the gentle question lingers in your mind. What would happen if I stopped rushing and let my life fall like the rain? The monk's robe, discovering peace. In the practice of letting go of excess. The forest path begins to slope gently upward, and the air feels fresher now, scented with wet cedar and the faint sweetness of wildflowers blooming along the trail's edge. The sound of your steps is muffled by damp earth, and above you, the last raindrops slip from pine needles, falling with soft little plinks onto stones below. Ahead you see a wooden pavilion perched on a low hill. Its design is simple 4 posts supporting a sloping roof with open sides to let the breeze pass through. A single lantern hangs from a beam, its paper sides glowing faintly in the dim light. Sitting on the pavilion's edge is a monk in a plain faded robe. He is sewing carefully, threading needle through fabric with movements so slow and deliberate they seem almost like a ritual. A small pile of cloth scraps lies beside him, along with a wooden bowl of clear water. The Zen master stops at the base of the steps and bows slightly. This monk teaches us the art of letting go, he says softly. You step forward quietly, your feet brushing over the worn wood of the pavilion floor. The monk looks up and smiles, a gentle, almost knowing smile that feels as warm as the lantern's glow. Welcome, he says, in a voice as soft as silk. Please sit with me. You settle cross-legged a few feet away, watching as his hands guide the needle with precision. The robe he is mending is plain, its cloth patched and repatched so many times you can't tell where the original fabric ends and the repairs begin. The monk notices your gaze and chuckles softly. This robe has been with me for 20 years, he says. It has traveled mountains and rivers, endured rain and sun. Each patch reminds me of where I've been and what I've released. You tilt your head slightly. Released, you ask. He nods. When a part wears out, I do not cling to it. I remove it and mend the robe anew. This practice keeps my hands steady and my heart light. The Buddha once said, "You only lose what you cling to." You think of all the things you've clung to, old grudges, outdated roles, even identities that no longer feel like yours. And you wonder, what would it feel like to patch and mend my life instead of grasping at what's already worn through? The monk dips his needle into the bowl of water, wetting the thread, before continuing. In Zen, we say that even the simplest act, mending, sweeping, washing rice, can be a meditation if done with full attention. You watch his fingers move. There's no hurry in them, no impatience. And yet with each careful stitch, the robe grows whole again. There's a Zen story of a wealthy man who asked a monk, "Why do you wear such plain clothes?" The monk replied, "The robe is enough to cover my body just as food is enough to fill my belly. What else do I need? What else do?" You feel a small knot loosen in your chest as you listen. What else do I need, you ask yourself. The monk finishes a row of stitches and sets the robe aside. He looks out over the forest below, where mist clings to the treetops like a thin veil. Peace does not come from adding more, he says quietly. It comes from releasing what does not serve. The Zen master steps forward, resting a hand lightly on your shoulder. Do you see now the robe is not just cloth? It is a mirror for the mind. You take a deep breath, the scent of rain and cedar filling your lungs. You imagine your own life as a robe, threadbare in some places, whole in others. Could you accept its patches, its imperfections, as part of its beauty? The lantern sways slightly in the breeze, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow across the wooden floor. You watch the movement, your mind quiet, your body still. The monk picks up the robe and folds it neatly. To live simply is not to live with nothing, he says. It is to live with only what brings peace. You rise slowly as the Zen master turns to leave. At the top of the steps, you pause and glance back. The monk is sitting again, his needle flashing faintly in the lantern's glow. And you think, perhaps I too can mend what is frayed, not to make it perfect, but to make it whole. The path ahead curves gently downhill, leading back into the forest, where fireflies blink lazily in the damp night air. The sound of running water drifts to you on the breeze, faint but inviting. As you follow the master, you feel a quiet resolve take root within you. Not to cling, not to hoard, but to walk lightly, and let peace fill the spaces you create. The bamboo fan. The power of small, quiet movements in cultivating inner balance. The forest opens again into a narrow path lined on both sides with tall, swaying bamboo. Their slender stalks creak softly as they bend in the breeze, and the moonlight filters through the leaves, painting shifting patterns on the ground. You step carefully, your sandals brushing over dry leaves. The air feels lighter here, as though the bamboo itself is breathing with you. Ahead, the Zen master stops near a small bench and gestures for you to sit. "This is where you'll meet the bamboo fan," he says softly. You lower yourself onto the bench, the wood cool and smooth beneath your hands. Across from you, an old monk sits cross-legged in the grass. His robe is simple, his posture relaxed, and in his hand he holds a delicate fan made of woven bamboo strips. He moves the fan slowly, stirring the night air in gentle arcs. The breeze he creates brushes lightly across your face, cool and refreshing. The monk's eyes meet yours, and he smiles a smile. So subtle and serene, it feels like a breeze itself. "This fan is enough," he says. "It does not shout or push. It offers only what is needed." You watch the movement of his wrist, so smooth it's almost like the fan is moving on its own. The Buddha once taught, do not underestimate small acts. Even a single drop fills the bucket. You think of how often you've overlooked small moments, believing only grand gestures could bring change. But here, in this quiet grove, even the smallest breath of air feels profound. There's a Zen story of a master who told his student, "When you sweep the floor, sweep just the floor. When you drink tea, drink just the tea." The student asked, "But master, isn't that too simple?" The master smiled. "Simplicity is the deepest wisdom." The monk pauses, folding the fan and resting it gently in his lap. "When we move too much, we create windstorms in the mind," he says. "When we move with care, even a fan can cool the heart." You take a slow breath, feeling the air fill your lungs, and release just as gently. The rustling of the bamboo above seems to echo the rhythm of your breath, Inhale, exhale, sway settle. What small movement could you make? The master asks, softly to bring peace tonight. Not a great change, but a small one. You close your eyes for a moment and picture your life, the rushing, the striving, the heavy push forward. Could you choose one small, quiet act instead? A breath of pause, a single step taken with care. When you open your eyes again, the monk is still watching you. His hands open the fan once more, and he waves it lightly, sending another cool breeze your way. This is enough, he says gently. This breath, this moment, this quiet. The fan folds with a soft click, and he sets it aside, bowing his head slightly. You rise from the bench as the Zen master steps forward, his presence as calm and steady as the bamboo itself. The greatest peace, he says, is often found in the smallest motions. As you walk, you notice the bamboo stalks swaying together, their leaves brushing softly against one another. The sound is delicate, like whispers shared between old friends. The path curves gently now, leading toward the glow of a lantern further ahead. Its warm light promises shelter and rest. With each step, you feel the lesson of the fan settle into your body. Peace does not have to be loud. It can be quiet and steady, as soft as a single breath moving through the night. You inhale slowly, exhale. The air feels cooler, your shoulders lighter. And as you follow the master toward the lantern's glow, a quiet thought arises like a ripple on still water. Maybe all I need is this one small mindful movement at a time. The tea pavilion. How sharing tea becomes a meditation on presence and connection. The lantern's glow ahead grows warmer as you approach, casting a soft golden circle across the forest path. The bamboo gives way to an open clearing where a small tea pavilion rests on polished wooden beams. Its sliding paper doors are open, inviting the night air to drift gently through. You step quietly onto the smooth wooden floor, noticing how it creaks faintly beneath your feet. Inside, a low table sits at the center of the room, and beside it, a kettle hangs over glowing embers. The scent of roasted tea leaves and cedarwood smoke fills the air, calming and rich. The Zen master gestures for you to kneel on a woven mat. Across from you, a monk with silver hair and a serene face pours hot water into a clay teapot. His movements are deliberate and unhurried, as though every gesture is a prayer. This is the tea pavilion, the master says softly. Here we practice the art of presence in every sip. The monk places 2 small cups on the table and gently fills them. The steam rises in delicate spirals, curling into the night like whispers. He sets 1 cup before you, bowing slightly. Drink slowly, he says, in a voice barely louder than the breeze. Taste the tea not with your tongue alone, but with your whole being. You lift the cup carefully, feeling the warmth radiate into your palms. The first sip is smooth and earthy, its heat blooming across your chest and spreading outward in soft waves. The Buddha once taught, drink deeply, taste fully, leave nothing behind. You pause, realizing how rarely you truly taste anything, how often you drink without noticing, eat, without savoring, live without presence. As the tea cools slightly in your hands, the monk speaks again. In Zen, we say that tea is not just tea. It is water, earth, sun, wind, and the hands that prepared it. All of life flows into this cup. You take another sip, slower this time, and sense the truth of his words. The tea carries more than flavor, it carries stillness. There's a Zen story of a student who rushed into a tea ceremony, eager to discuss enlightenment. The master poured his cup to the brim and kept pouring until the tea spilled over. "Why are you still pouring?" the student cried. The master smiled. "You are like this cup, so full, there is no room for more. First, empty yourself." You smile faintly as you remember this story, then set your cup down. The warmth lingers in your body like a small lantern glowing in your chest. The monk refills your cup without a word. This time you watch his hands closely, steady, graceful, unhurried. Even the sound of the tea pouring feels like a soft song. Sharing tea, the Zen master says, is a meditation on connection. In this moment, there is no teacher or student, no giver or receiver, only the act of being here together. You take another sip, feeling the quiet between each swallow. The world outside the pavilion seems to fade, leaving only this space, this tea, this breath. What if life could feel like this more often, you wonder? Not a rush of events, but a series of moments each savored fully. The monk places the teapot back over the embers. Tea teaches us patience, he says softly. It cannot be rushed. The leaves steep at their own pace, and so must we. You glance around the small room, the smooth wood, the faint scent of cedar, the gentle glow of the lantern, and feel a deep sense of gratitude. Nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be added. As the tea cools in your cup, the Zen master rises. The pavilion reminds us simplicity is enough. In one sip of tea, the whole world is contained. You stand slowly, bowing to the monk. He returns the gesture, his eyes warm and steady. As you step back onto the forest path, the night air feels softer, more alive. The lantern's glow behind you fades as you follow the master deeper into the woods, where the faint sound of flowing water calls to you from somewhere ahead. And as you walk, you carry the warmth of the tea within you, a quiet reminder that peace can be as simple as lifting a cup and tasting the present moment, the hidden garden. Finding joy in unnoticed places and unspoken moments. The forest path narrows once again, the trees drawing closer, their branches forming a gentle arch overhead. The air here is cooler, almost fragrant, carrying the sweet scent of night-blooming flowers and damp moss. You follow the Zen master in silence, your footsteps softened by the carpet of fallen leaves. Ahead, a wooden gate appears nearly hidden behind a tangle of ivy and climbing vines. It's small and plain, so much so you might have walked past it without noticing. The master pushes it open with a soft creak, and a faint glow spills out into the night. This is the hidden garden, he says softly, a place few people see, not because it's far, but because they do not look. You step through the gate, and the world changes. A narrow stone path winds between beds of flowers, their petals luminous in the moonlight. White camellias, pale chrysanthemums, and tiny lantern flowers that seem to hold their own soft glow. At the center of the garden is a small pond, its surface smooth as glass, reflecting the stars above, as if holding a second sky. The sound of water trickling fills the air. A bamboo fountain tilting back and forth with a gentle clack as it empties and refills. You pause to take it in, feeling your breath slow without effort. There is no sign to announce this place. No grandeur or ornamentation, yet its quiet beauty feels complete. The Zen master kneels near the pond and dips his fingers into the water. Ripples spread outward in delicate rings. Simplicity hides in plain sight, he says. Most people are too busy looking for extraordinary things to see what is right here. You think of your own life, the rushing, the reaching for milestones, the moments overlooked because they seemed too ordinary to matter. The Buddha once taught, if you truly love yourself, you will watch carefully over every small thing. Could it be that peace is not something to find, but something already waiting in the unnoticed corners of your days? There's a Zen story about a student who asked, "How can I find the sacred?" The master pointed to a pebble on the path and said, "It is already beneath your feet." You walk slowly around the pond, noticing the way the flowers tilt slightly toward the lanterns, as though bowing to their light. A dragonfly hovers briefly over the water, before darting away in a flash of silver blue. The Zen master stands and gestures toward a small stone bench beneath a weeping willow. You sit there quietly, the willow's long branches swaying gently around you like a curtain. Many people ask how to find peace, the master says. But peace is not hidden. It is only covered by layers of distraction. You close your eyes, letting the night sounds seep in the trickle of water, the breeze stirring the leaves, the distant hum of crickets. What if I paid attention like this every day, you wonder? Would I find hidden gardens in places I've never noticed before? The master's voice comes again, even softer now. You do not need to climb higher or see farther. You need only to pause and see what has been here all along. When you open your eyes, the pond's surface has stilled again, the stars reflected perfectly as though they lived there. You rise slowly from the bench, feeling the air cool on your skin. The Zen master begins walking toward the gate, and you follow, glancing back once more at the garden before the vines and ivy hide it from view. The path beyond the gate feels lighter, your steps unhurried. In the quiet of your mind, a thought blooms gently. Perhaps the peace I've sought is not in the distance, but in the spaces I've yet to notice. The lanterns glow, returning home with the warmth of peace in every breath. The forest path winds gently downhill now, the air growing warmer and stiller as you walk. Lanterns, small and simple, line the way, at intervals their faint glow swaying in the soft night breeze. Each one flickers like a tiny heartbeat in the darkness, guiding your steps without urgency. The Zen master walks ahead, his robe whispering lightly against the earth. He pauses as the path opens into a wide clearing, where a large lantern rests on a wooden stand. Its light spills out in a soft golden glow, illuminating the circle of smooth stones surrounding it. "This is the lantern's glow," the master says gently. "Here we pause to remember what it means to carry light within." You step closer, feeling the warmth of the lantern reach your face. Its flame burns steady now, untroubled by the night air. The glow doesn't shout or demand attention. It simply exists quietly, transforming darkness into peace. The Buddha once taught, thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. You kneel by the lantern, watching how its light spills outward, touching the edges of the clearing. It seems so simple a flame, a container, a little fuel, and yet it brings such comfort. There is a story the master says softly of a man who carried a lantern while walking through a storm. He kept shielding it with his hands, fearful it would go out. Finally, he realized the lantern was built for such winds. When he stopped clutching so tightly, the flame burned steady on its own. You take a slow breath, letting the lessons settle in your heart. Perhaps my own light does not need to be clutched or guarded so fiercely. Perhaps it too can burn steady if I let it. The master crouches beside you. "Your light is not for you alone," he says. "It is for all who walk in darkness, whether they know it or not." You close your eyes for a moment and imagine the lantern's glow within your own chest, warm, quiet, steady. Each breath fans it gently, keeping it alive without effort. What small light could you carry back into the world, the master asks. Not a blazing torch, but a soft glow enough to ease your path and warm others. You think of all the moments when someone else's quiet kindness became a lantern in your life, a smile, a gentle word, an act so small it seemed invisible at the time. And you wonder, could I be that light for someone else? The Zen master rises, and the lantern's glow flickers slightly, then steadies. "You have walked far," he says, "but the journey does not end here. It begins again with every step you take from this place. As you leave the clearing, the light lingers behind you, but you feel its warmth still in your chest. The path leads down toward the village, where distant lights shimmer faintly like fallen stars. Your steps are slow, unhurried. The air feels softer now, filled with the faint scent of wildflowers and the sound of night insects humming. Maybe peace isn't something I bring back from the mountain, you think. Maybe it's something I carry like this lantern's glow wherever I go. The night deepens, and your breath slows, as you feel your body grow heavier, sinking into stillness. The lantern's glow lingers in your mind, soft and warm, like a gentle presence holding you steady. Imagine yourself walking again along the forest path, the cool air brushing your skin. Each step light and unhurried. The lantern in your hand flickers faintly, casting a quiet circle of light around you. It does not push away the darkness. It simply allows you to see what is before you, one step at a time. With every breath, you feel lighter, as though each exhale releases a little more of what you no longer need. The thoughts that tug at you during the day now drift like fireflies in the distance, glowing faintly before fading into the night. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to hold them. The Buddha's teaching echoes gently in your mind. As a lantern gives light in darkness, so does a peaceful mind illuminate the world. You feel the warmth of that light spreading softly through your chest, down your arms, and into your fingers. It pools in your belly, your legs, your toes, until your whole body feels wrapped in its quiet radiance. There is nothing to do now, no place to go, no effort to make. You are enough, just as you are whole, steady and safe. As your eyelids grow heavy and your breath softens to a slow, steady rhythm, let this stillness cradle you. You are the lantern, you are the light. Sleep now and let peace carry you gently into dreams. Zen Stories for Sleep Vertical Bar, The Pebble in the Stream. A tale of flowing with life. The mountain stream. Beginning the journey with the sound of water guiding your steps. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a mountain stream. The water glides over smooth stones, swirling around mossy rocks and carrying fallen leaves gently downstream. The air is cool and sweet, filled with the sound of flowing water, a sound so steady it feels like the earth's own heartbeat. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're listening, share in the comments where you're tuning in from tonight and what time it is there. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You step carefully along the narrow mountain path, the sound of the stream growing louder with every step. The air is cooler here, carrying the faint scent of wet earth and pine. As you round a bend, the stream comes fully into view. Clear water flowing over smooth stones, its surface rippling like silk in the moonlight. You pause to listen. The sound of the water is constant, yet ever-changing, soft and murmuring, in some places louder and bubbling where it rushes over rocks. The Zen master stands at the water's edge, his robes brushing gently against the moss-covered stones. This stream has a lesson for you, he says quietly. Listen not only with your ears, but with your whole being. You crouch down, letting your fingers trail in the water. It's cold, invigorating. And you watch how it moves, never stopping, never clinging to any one place. The current doesn't argue with the stones it meets. It flows around them effortlessly, finding a way forward no matter the obstacle. The Buddha once taught, "You cannot step into the same river twice." The words echo softly in your mind as you watch the water dance and swirl. Each drop passes by only once. Then it's gone. A question stirs gently in your thoughts. What would my life feel like if I stopped clinging and allowed it to flow like this stream? The Zen master picks up a small pebble and drops it into the water. It sinks with barely a sound, vanishing beneath the surface. The stream does not resist the pebble, he says. It does not hold on or push it away. It accepts, and it moves on. You sit on a flat stone at the water's edge, closing your eyes to better listen. The sound of the stream fills your ears, calming the busy chatter of your thoughts. You notice how your breath begins to match the rhythm of the water inhale as it flows past exhale as it swirls away. There's a Zen story of a monk who asked his master how to achieve peace. The master replied, "Stop fighting the river." The monk frowned. "But if I don't fight, I'll be swept away." The master smiled. "Perhaps you will be carried exactly where you need to go." You open your eyes and watch a fallen leaf spin gently on the surface before drifting out of sight. Could I let go like that, you wonder? Could I trust the current of my own life? The Zen master stands his presence as calm and steady as the stream itself. To flow is not to give up, he says. It is to stop clinging to the bank and let life carry you forward. As you rise to follow him, you notice how even the stones in the stream have been shaped by the water over time. Not through force, but through patience and persistence. The path ahead runs parallel to the stream, leading deeper into the forest, where the sound of water softens to a gentle murmur. And as you take your first step, you feel something loosen inside, like a pebble finally released from your grasp, carried gently by the current. The still pebble. A lesson in non-resistance. From a stone resting in the current. The path continues alongside the stream, and the sound of flowing water becomes a constant companion. A soft, endless murmur that soothes your mind with each step. The air is fresh and cool, carrying the faint scent of damp moss and wild herbs. Moonlight filters through the trees above, casting gentle patterns on the ground that seem to shift and sway as you walk. Eventually, the Zen master stops beside a small pool where the stream slows and widens. The surface is so still it reflects the night sky, perfectly stars twinkling on the water like lanterns scattered across black silk. At the edge of the pool lies a single pebble, half submerged in the shallows. Its surface is smooth and dark-shaped by countless years of water flowing over and around it. The master kneels down and places his hand lightly on the pebble. This stone, he says softly, teaches the art of stillness within motion. You crouch beside him, feeling the damp earth beneath your fingers. The water here moves almost imperceptibly, yet over time it has softened the sharp edges of the stone, transforming it into something rounded and whole. The pebble does not fight the stream, the master continues. It does not cling to where it was or struggle to reach where it thinks it should be. It rests, and in resting, it is shaped by life itself. The Buddha once taught, "Be still like a mountain and flow like a great river." You watch the water swirl gently around the pebble. Even when a small stick drifts past and bumps against it, the pebble remains unmoved, letting the current carry the stick onward without resistance. What would it feel like, you wonder, to stop resisting the flow of life, to allow the stream of events to move around me instead of through me? The Zen master dips his fingers into the pool, sending ripples across its surface. The stars reflected in the water shimmer and break apart, then slowly come together again. There is a Zen story, he says, of a student who asked his teacher how to handle the chaos of the world. The teacher replied, "Sit still. Be like a pebble in the stream." The student asked, "But won't I be left behind?" The teacher smiled and said, "The stream carries even those who are still." You close your eyes and listen to the soft gurgle of water as it passes over stones around roots and into the still pool. The sound is like a lullaby, each note washing gently through your thoughts. What am I clinging to? You ask yourself quietly. And what would happen if I loosened my grip even just a little? The master picks up the pebble and places it in your hand. It feels cool and smooth against your palm, surprisingly heavy for its size. "Carry this for a while," he says, "but hold it lightly. Let it remind you that stillness is not the absence of movement. It is harmony with the flow." You stand cradling the pebble gently in your hand as you follow the master along the path. The stream beside you gurgles softly, its sound blending with the wind in the trees and the faint hum of night insects. Every now and then you glance at the pebble. Its smooth surface seems to glow faintly in the moonlight, as if it holds a secret too quiet for words. And with each step, you feel a little more like the pebble-rooted calm, and willing to let the stream of life flow where it will. Ahead, the path curves toward a wooden footbridge crossing the stream. You hear the soft rustle of leaves and the gentle splash of something slipping into the water. The Zen master pauses at the bridge's entrance. "The next teaching waits," he says. But remember, stillness is not found by stopping the stream. It is found by letting yourself rest within it. As you step onto the bridge, the water beneath whispers softly, carrying leaves and twigs gently downstream. You hold the pebble loosely in your hand, feeling its weight not as a burden, but as a quiet anchor. Perhaps I too can be shaped by the stream, not by clinging or resisting, but by resting and letting go. And as the night breeze brushes against your face, you take a deep breath and feel a deep sense of ease settle into your chest. The drifting leaf. Learning how to let go and float with life's changes. The wooden planks of the footbridge creak softly beneath your feet as you step across. Below, the water ripples gently, carrying small leaves and petals in its current. The Zen master walks ahead without a sound, his hands folded loosely behind his back, his robe swaying faintly in the breeze. At the center of the bridge, he stops and looks down into the stream. You follow his gaze and see a single leaf, pale and fragile, spinning slowly as the water carries it along. It drifts in gentle circles, caught in a small eddy for a moment, then slips free to continue its journey downstream. This leaf, the master says, quietly teaches us how to let go. You lean against the wooden railing and watch the leaf's path. It doesn't resist the current. It doesn't try to steer itself or cling to the stones along the banks. It simply floats, allowing the water to carry it where it must go. The Buddha once said, "Let go of what has passed. Let go of what may come. Let go of what is happening now. Don't try to figure anything out. Don't try to make anything happen. Relax right now and rest." You feel those words sink into your chest like warm tea spreading through your body. The master lifts a hand pointing to a cluster of leaves caught in a tangle of branches by the bank. They shift restlessly as the water pushes and pulls around them, unable to move on. Many people live like these leaves, he says, clinging to the past, fearing what lies ahead. But clinging only causes struggle. The stream does not pause for them. It flows on. You think of all the things you've tried to hold on to, regrets, missed opportunities, even joyful moments you wished could last forever. What if I could let them drift away, you wonder? What if I trusted the stream of life to carry me forward just like this leaf? There's a Zen story of a student who asked his teacher, "How do I let go?" The teacher handed him a heavy stone and said, "Carry this until you're ready to put it down." After many hours, the student dropped the stone with a sigh. The teacher smiled. "Now you understand." The master steps off the bridge, leading you down a narrow path closer to the water's edge. The sound of the stream grows louder, here more alive. You crouch at the bank and trail your fingers through the current. The water is cool and quick, slipping easily past your hand. Letting go is not losing, the master says. It is freeing your hands to receive what comes next. You watch another leaf tumble past, caught briefly in a swirl before flowing onward. Its movement is effortless, almost graceful. Could I trust life like this? You ask yourself. Could I allow it to carry me, even when I don't know where it leads? The master bends down and picks up a small stick from the ground. He places it gently in the water and watches as the stream takes it. When we let go, he says we join the flow of the universe itself. You rise slowly, feeling lighter somehow, as though the stream has already begun to wash away what no longer serves you. As you walk, the sound of water remains with you, a gentle reminder of the current moving all things forward. The path curves, and ahead you see a wide, calm pool, where the stream slows to a near standstill. The next teaching waits there, the Master says. It is time to see what lies beneath the surface. You glance back one last time at the bridge. The leaf you saw earlier has long since vanished from view, carried into the unknown. And you take a deep breath, imagining your own thoughts and worries drifting downstream, leaving only a quiet, open space within. The ripples reach, seeing how even small actions create waves in the world. The air grows heavier and stiller as you step away from the moving stream. The path opens to a wide, shallow pool where the water seems to pause, gathering itself before continuing its journey downstream. The moonlight reflects off the glassy surface, creating a perfect mirror of the sky above. Stars shimmer in its depths, as though they've come down to rest in the water for a while. The Zen master stops at the edge and gestures for you to sit on a flat stone. The air here is cool, tinged with the scent of moss and wet earth. Watch closely, he says softly. This still pool holds another teaching for you. He picks up a small pebble and drops it lightly into the water. You watch as concentric ripples spread outward from where the pebble entered, widening and softening as they travel across the surface. The stars in the reflection blur and bend with each passing ring. The ripple's reach is far greater than the pebble's size, the Master continues, just as your smallest words and actions reach farther than you realize. You lean forward, watching how the ripples flow toward the edges of the pool, bouncing softly off stones and reeds, before fading back into stillness. The Buddha once said, "If you light a lamp for someone, it will also brighten your path." You think of moments in your own life when a single kind word or gesture shifted your whole day, when a stranger's smile, a friend's gentle touch, or even a bird's song made the world feel lighter somehow. There is a Zen story, the Master says, of a monk who filled a leaking bucket with water to carry back to the temple. By the time he arrived, the bucket was empty. But along the path, flowers bloomed where the water had spilled. You close your eyes and let the image settle into your mind. Flowers springing up quietly in places the monk never intended to water. What ripples have I left behind, you wonder? What small gestures might have reached farther than I'll ever know? A soft breeze stirs the surface of the pool, and new ripples form as leaves drop from the trees above. Each one sends waves across the stars, reflected in the water, yet the sky above remains unchanged. The pool reminds us, the Master says, that even the gentlest action matters. A whisper can carry as far as a shout, and often with more grace. You trail your fingers in the water and watch your own ripples spread outward. The sensation is cool and calming, as though the pool itself is alive, welcoming your touch. Could I live this way, you ask yourself, choosing each step, each word, as if it sends ripples into the world. The Zen master rises and begins walking again along the path that curves gently uphill. Every step you take, he says over his shoulder, is a pebble in life's stream. Walk gently and let your ripples carry peace. You stand and follow the sound of water growing softer behind you as the path leads you away from the pool. The forest closes in again, and ahead you hear a faint rustling, like wind brushing through the reeds. And as you walk, you imagine the ripples still moving across the water, even now tiny waves reaching out in every direction, far beyond where the pebble fell. Perhaps I don't need to make great waves, you think. Perhaps small ripples are enough to change the world. The deep pool, finding inner stillness in the depths beneath the surface. The path climbs gently now, and the air cools as the forest thickens around you. Moonlight filters through the canopy in soft shafts, lighting your way as the sound of rushing water grows faint in the distance. Here, the silence feels deeper, almost sacred, broken only by the quiet crunch of your steps on the earth. The Zen master leads you to a small clearing where a stone stairway descends into the earth. At the bottom lies a deep pool, so dark it appears bottomless. Its surface is still and smooth like obsidian, reflecting the trees above in perfect detail. This is the deep pool, the master says softly. It holds the secret of stillness beneath the surface. You kneel at the water's edge and peer into its depths. The reflection of the stars wavers slightly with your movement, but the water itself remains undisturbed. The surface ripples easily, the master continues, but below all is calm. The stream may dance and rush above, yet in its depths it is always still. You trail your fingers lightly across the surface. Tiny waves spread outward, blurring the stars and breaking their perfect symmetry. But as you pull your hand away, the pool settles again, restoring its quiet mirror. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes not from controlling the waves, but from finding the stillness beneath them." You think of how often you've been caught in the turbulence of your own mind, pushed and pulled by thoughts, memories, and fears. What if I could sink beneath the surface, you wonder? What would I find in the quiet depths of myself? The Zen master crouches beside you, his gaze steady on the water. There is a Zen story of a student who said, "My mind is like a monkey leaping from branch to branch." The master led him to a pond and asked him to look at his reflection. At first the water rippled, and the student's face appeared broken and distorted. But as he stood still, the ripples calmed and his reflection grew clear. You close your eyes and imagine the surface of your own thoughts, restless, agitated, then slowly quieting like this pool. Beneath there is no movement, only depth, only stillness. Stillness is not the absence of thought, the master says gently. It is the place where thoughts arise and dissolve without clinging. You take a deep breath, letting it flow in and out like a tide. Already you feel a subtle shift inside, a softening, a loosening, as though your restless mind has begun to settle of its own accord. "Listen," the master whispers. You strain your ears but hear nothing, not even the wind, and yet the silence feels full, as though the pool itself is speaking in a language older than words. Could I carry this stillness with me, you wonder? Could I move through the world like this deep pool, calm beneath the noise, clear beneath the ripples? The Zen master stands and gestures toward a narrow path leading away from the clearing. "Come," he says. "The stream is not finished teaching you." As you rise to follow, you glance one last time at the pool. Its surface reflects the stars perfectly again, as though nothing had disturbed it. And as you step back onto the forest path, a quiet truth settles into your chest. Stillness is not found by stopping the stream. It is found by sinking into its depths. The crossing crane, observing the patience of nature and its quiet wisdom. The forest path climbs once more, winding gently along the hillside. The air grows lighter as you walk, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and cool mountain mist. In the distance, you hear the faint trickle of the water again, a small stream weaving its way downhill, its song quiet yet steady. The Zen master slows his pace, then stops at the edge of a wide clearing. At the center lies a shallow stream, its water clear and shimmering in the moonlight. Across the stream, standing perfectly still in the reeds, is a tall white crane. "This is the crossing crane," the master whispers. "Watch carefully. It has a teaching of its own." You stand silently, not wanting to disturb the bird. Its long legs are partially submerged in the water, and its elegant neck curves like a question mark. For a long moment, the crane does not move at all. Only the gentle flow of the stream and the rustle of leaves in the breeze fill the night air. The crane lifts one leg with slow, deliberate grace, then places it lightly back in the water, sending out tiny ripples that fade as quickly as they appear. The crane does not hurry, the master says softly. It does not fight the current. Each step is placed with care, balanced between earth and water. The Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 careless words is a single word spoken with peace." You watch as the crane tilts its head, its eyes sharp and calm. It is not restless. It is not rushing. Its presence feels rooted in light all at once, as if it belongs equally to the water, the air, and the earth. There's a Zen story of a young monk who asked his teacher, "How should I walk through the world?" The teacher replied, "Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet. You imagine walking that way yourself, not stamping, not rushing, but stepping gently, allowing the earth to support you fully with each movement." The crane takes another slow step, then pauses again, its stillness more powerful than any action. The crane teaches us patience, the master says. It waits. It listens. It acts only when the time is right. You remember moments in your own life when you felt the urge to push, to act quickly to control outcomes before they unfolded. What if I could pause like this, you wonder? What would it feel like to wait until the current carries me naturally forward? The crane lowers its beak into the water, catching a small fish in one swift, graceful motion. Then it stands tall again, the ripples from its movement settling back into stillness. It does not grasp, the master murmurs. It moves only when the stream aligns with its needs. So too must you learn to flow, not with urgency, but with trust. The crane steps out of the water and spreads its wings. For a moment it stands, illuminated in the moonlight, a living sculpture of quiet strength and grace. Then, with two powerful beats, it lifts into the air and glides silently over the forest canopy. You watch until it disappears into the night sky, leaving only the sound of the stream behind. The Zen master turns to you, his eyes reflecting the faint glow of the water. Did you see? Stillness does not mean doing nothing. It means moving in harmony with life's flow. You take a slow breath, feeling your chest rise and fall like the crane's wings. As you continue walking, the path leads closer to the stream, its gentle gurgle wrapping around you like a soft melody. The air feels cooler here, and fireflies drift lazily above the water, their lights flickering like tiny lanterns in the dark. And as you place each foot carefully on the earth, you find yourself moving more. Like the crane, slowly, lightly, fully present in each step. Perhaps this is the way to cross life's streams, you think. Not by forcing, but by waiting. Watching and flowing when the time is right. The waterfall's song embracing impermanence and the beauty of surrender. The path narrows again, weaving between ancient trees, whose roots twist and curl like sleeping serpents across the forest floor. The air grows cooler with each step, carrying a faint mist that clings softly to your skin. Ahead you hear a new sound, deep and steady, like a drumbeat echoing through the earth. The Zen master slows his pace. The stream has one more lesson before it rests, he says. Listen carefully. As you walk, the sound grows louder. The steady hush of falling water fills the air, mixing with the soft rustle of leaves overhead. Rounding a bend, you see it a waterfall cascading over a sheer rock face into a deep pool below. The water spills effortlessly, churning white at the base before flowing calmly away. Mist rises in delicate spirals, catching the moonlight in shifting patterns of silver and pearl. You stand transfixed, watching how the water surrenders completely to its descent. This is the waterfall's song, the master whispers. It speaks of surrender. You step closer, feeling the cool spray against your face. The sound of rushing water vibrating deep in your chest. The Buddha once taught, All conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. The waterfall doesn't resist its path. It doesn't cling to the rock or try to change its course. It falls freely, fully, without hesitation. What would it feel like to surrender like this? You wonder. To stop holding myself back, stop resisting the currents of life, and simply flow where I am meant to go. There's a Zen story about a student who asked his master, "What does letting go feel like?" The master pointed to the waterfall and said, "Like this, falling without fear." You close your eyes and listen. The sound of the water fills every corner of your awareness, washing away thoughts, worries, even the sense of time. The stream does not mourn as it plunges, the master says. It trusts that the plunge is part of its journey. You picture moments in your own life when you've stood at the edge of change, hesitant, afraid to leap. Could I trust the unknown the way the water trusts its fall? A breeze carries droplets of mist onto your skin, cool and light. You open your eyes and watch how the water flows endlessly, never the same, yet always whole. The waterfall's lesson, the master says softly, is that surrender is not weakness. It is freedom. As you stand there, a quiet shift happens inside you. The tightness in your chest softens. Your breath flows more easily, like the stream after it has tumbled down the rocks. You take one last look at the waterfall. Its roar feels less like chaos now, and more like a hymn, a song of release, of letting go. The Zen master places a hand lightly on your shoulder. "Come," he says. "There is one more path to walk." As you follow him, the sound of the waterfall grows softer, replaced once more by the gentle murmur of the stream. Fireflies drift lazily above the water, their faint lights blinking like tiny stars. And as you walk, a thought settles into your heart. Perhaps I don't need to control the current. Perhaps life flows best when I release my grip, the returning flow, carrying the stream's teachings into your daily life. The forest begins to open as the path widens and the sound of the waterfall fades into a gentle hush behind you. The air feels warmer now, scented with wildflowers and fresh earth. Lanterns appear ahead, spaced along the trail like guiding stars, their soft glow reflected in the slow-moving stream that winds beside you. The Zen master walks with unhurried steps, his hands folded loosely in front of him. "This is the returning flow," he says softly. "The water has taught you to flow, to rest, to surrender. Now it asks, can you carry its wisdom back into your life?" You pause for a moment at the edge of the stream, crouching low to watch its quiet movement. A single pebble rests near your feet, half submerged in the water. Its surface is smooth, worn down by years of gentle currents. This pebble has never resisted the stream, you think. It simply allowed itself to be shaped, to be softened by time and water. The Buddha once said, "You cannot stop the flow of life, but you can learn to ride its current." You close your eyes and imagine yourself as that pebble, letting the stream carry you not in chaos, but in quiet trust. There is a Zen story, the master says, of a student who asked how to bring his practice home from the mountain. The teacher said, "When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. Carry the mountain in your breath." You stand slowly, your body lighter than when you began this journey. The stream beside you murmurs softly, its sound wrapping around your heart like a gentle promise. The lanterns glow brighter as you approach a small wooden bridge leading across the stream. You step onto the bridge, the planks creaking slightly beneath your weight. In the water below, fireflies drift lazily, their lights blinking in time with the stars reflected on the surface. The Zen master stops at the center of the bridge and turns to you. "Peace is not a place you arrive at," he says. "It is the way you step into each moment." You rest your hands lightly on the railing and take a slow breath. The air is cool and sweet, the stream's voice quiet but steady. Perhaps peace is not in changing the world around me, you think. Perhaps it is in allowing myself to be carried by its flow. The master begins walking again, and you follow, crossing the bridge and stepping back onto the path that leads down toward the valley. As you descend, the forest thins, and the distant lights of a village shimmer faintly on the horizon. The stream follows alongside you, its presence comforting like an old friend walking in silence at your side. Each step feels deliberate now, not heavy, but full, as though the earth beneath your feet has been waiting for you to walk this way, gently with care. Like the crane in the water, like the leaf on the stream. The path straightens, leading to a wooden gate that marks the end of the trail. The Zen master pauses there. His posture relaxed, his eyes soft. The stream's teachings are simple, he says. Flow, rest, let go. And remember, you are already carried. You bow slightly in gratitude, feeling the truth of his words settle deep in your chest. As you step through the gate, the night air greets you with a quiet stillness. The village lights glow faintly in the distance, and the stream disappears into the darkness, continuing its journey without end. You take a slow breath, feeling your body and mind moving like the water, unclenched, unhurried, free. The night grows deeper, and the air feels softer, wrapping around you like a warm blanket. Imagine yourself sitting once more by the quiet stream, its gentle flow whispering to you in the language of peace. The pebble rests in your hand, cool and smooth its weight, grounding you in the present moment. Around you, the lanterns flicker softly, casting circles of golden light that dance across the water. As you breathe in, feel the stream's calm filling your chest, washing away the day's noise and clutter. With each exhale, release whatever you've been holding too tightly, letting it drift downstream like fallen leaves carried by the current. You don't need to cling to thoughts or push them away. Let them come. Let them go. The stream carries everything gently, effortlessly. You are safe here, resting in the flow of life. The Buddha's words echo softly. As a bee gathers nectar and moves on, so should you live lightly in the world. Imagine your mind as the deep pool, still reflective, vast. Whatever ripples arise, they soften and fade, leaving only quiet clarity. There is nothing more to do tonight. No places to reach, no burdens to carry. You are already home in this stillness. Let your breath grow slow and steady like the stream itself. Sleep now, and let peace carry you gently into dreams.